Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, FE. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. We're never tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the champ and the tramp, let the bomb blast.
All right, Champ and the Champ, episode what, 31?
31.
31. We got my friend Darian Barnes, Tom's River guy, Super Bowl champion for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Hold up that ring. Look at that thing.
Thing's gleaming, baby. And a new contestant, I guess, on Worst Cooks in America on the Food Network this year, right? What season?
Yeah,
what season
this is season 20.
Season 20.
Yeah.
Tom's River guy, played football for Tom's River North.
I was a Mariner, yeah.
Yeah. What year did you graduate?
98.
98. Okay,
Yeah.
so 2 years ahead of me. I was 2000.
10
Roger,
years ahead of me.
Roger's
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Roger graduated in the 70s. But yeah, man, good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And I was checking out the Worst Cooks thing. Well, I see you guys cooked the jerk chicken, right?
Yeah. The show is, the one thing I can say taken from it was I actually learned how to cook.
From that show?
From that show, like, learned straight up, like, how to cook. And before that, there was nothing I couldn't burn or just... I've set my kitchen on fire, not almost on fire. If I hadn't ran back to, I forgot turkey. Anyway, but it was really cool because it was almost like a football camp. Like, basically, you go in, you got to learn a lot of stuff right away. If you don't perform, you get cut. So it was like I kind of took it like that, and really. It was just a great experience.
When you say you got to learn, are they there to teach you, or you just come in with your own personal set of skills?
So I had Chef Alex Gornicelli, who's an Iron Chef, who owns Butter in New York City.
Yep.
An amazing cook. She's like your coach, like straight up, like you. She's like, this is how you cut an onion. This is how you cut whatever.
Right, yes, I saw.
And then you basically. She teaches you like how to do the recipe. You do it like me, and if you don't, you got to go basically. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously you don't do it exactly like her.
Right.
But
where was that film? New York.
New York.
New York. Yeah.
How'd you get picked up? How'd that come about?
So I've never watched the show before I got on it, and
I watched season 2.
And I get this call one day, and they're like, "Hey, we're talking about you about your application to Worst Cooks," and I was like, "What application? Like, what are you talking?" And my wife and kids watch it religiously. They start freaking out, like, "Oh, they called! He's gonna be on the show!" And I'm looking at my wife. She's like, "We signed you up."
Oh, that's awesome.
Because we knew that
I signed
would
Frankie up for Grinder. So he was just as excited.
Well, again, I don't know what Grinder is, and he keeps talking about it. He keeps talking about Grinder. All right?
Sure, you don't.
This guy.
So I got on the show and just like totally just said, you know what, I'm gonna just learn how to cook, and I don't care about the TV show. I'm like, I didn't want to. I'll learn how to cook, come home so I can cook for my kids, because they apparently thought I was shitty enough to make it on the show. So it was cool.
Clearly you have that competitive drive. So were you focused like day one, like I'm going to win this?
Yeah, because like as a competitor, like, oh, I'm going to win this. I'm here. I'm better. I'm a better cook than everybody here. Right. So I'm going to win. So, but part of me was like, damn, like like how, like going to a football camp, like you could be competing for a job with somebody, and it's like, yeah, I know I train every day. I work for this. Like, I live for this. But going to like cooking camp, I was like, I'm gonna win, but
it's a foreign entity. Yeah.
To get from here to there, it's gonna be success.
So it was like just every day, every week, like it was like you just got to get better. Like you got to cut faster. You got to know when, if you're
because it's time.
Yeah, if you're like. If you don't want your food to overheat and it's on the pan, you stick water in there to break up the canola oil and the water cook off first. So just little stuff, and it's like at the end of it, you're like, damn, I can cook, and you just
Frankie, you cook? I can't cook at all. I cannot cook at all.
I don't. I always say I don't cook. I eat.
Yeah.
But no, I got a Traeger grill.
I can
recently.
grill.
Okay.
I can grill.
And
I think that's.
I've been messing with that a little bit. I mean, I'm kind of cutting weight, so I kind of put that on hold. But I definitely have some recipes I want to try.
in a kitchen. Can you work your way around? I can cook on a grill. But
I think I get.
in
Listen,
February, I don't.
I think I could learn to do anything.
Right.
But
Yeah, like that. I think that like that athlete attitude, like I'm not going to just be out here and like that is a driving factor. But I think hindsight, if I would have learned how to cook earlier, I think I could have been healthier playing, because I would have known like what to, like, especially spending money, like going out to eat. When I was a kid playing football, like, oh, I'm just gonna go out to eat. I can't cook shit.
Yeah.
So like, it would have helped, but like, training table, like, it was always there. You never had to think about that stuff. But like, I'm like, damn, man, I could have
made it easy for yourself.
Yeah. Because
So we got to do a little comparison here.
Okay.
We had Todd Frazier in, good friend of both of ours, and another local. He was talking about how they literally just cook the best food for you, obviously in the for the baseball league. How does that compare to the football league?
it all depends on
He says you can get anything at any time you want, in the middle of a game, whatever you want.
Baseball is different because those guys, that's just different. But I will say this.
Because baseball difference, they can play, they can hit balls on a full stomach. You know what I'm saying?
Depending upon the team you were on, is the quality of food.
Okay.
So like, no, like.
So New England's eating pretty good.
Does it have to do with success like that?
No, it doesn't have to. No, it's how cheap they are. Like
the franchise.
Like Jerry Jones. Like when I was there, like in 04, like we were eating like Grandy's, and if you don't know what Grandy's is, it's because you're not supposed to know what Grandy's. Like it's like Grandy's is like if Popeyes and like Cracker Barrel had a baby, and that baby took a shit somewhere in the middle of Texas.
Damn.
Like that was like Grandy's, and it's like, yo, we're the Dallas Cowboys. Like why is our training table like, like Texas's version of like IHOP?
Wow.
So you had that, or going to like New Orleans, where the food was like amazing.
Is it just because you're in New Orleans and
No, it's just because they
took care of their
took a
guys.
premium on food, and it's really like it depends on the team.
Yeah.
A lot of it depends on the team. So
Now you go home, you cook for your girls. You have 4 daughters.
4 daughters,
4 daughters.
What are their ages?
14, 11, 8, and 2.
Wow. Good gap there then. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All.
So you have to stay young. You got a 2-year-old.
I can't. Like, she's like the 2-year-old basically runs the house. Like, I don't like, not even like. Like, I'm defeated.
Right.
Like
Right.
I mean, like
I have
like,
3.
when's
I don't have 4, but I have
When's
3.
the last time you peed standing up?
I don't remember. Yeah, I really don't. Like,
Right.
because they walk in the bathroom.
Exactly,
Like,
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
They walk in the bathroom whenever they want. They're like,
Exactly.
oh, you're in here? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, can I get some
That's
privacy?
the same. When Melanie doesn't really do it anymore. When she was little, I peed sitting down for like 2 years because it was like she just busts in the bathroom whenever she wants,
And it's like the story of like you're like, as a man, like you go from being a man to like, oh, is that what you want? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You want something to drink?
Right.
Oh, you shouldn't drink that. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. They start like look at you and you're like,
Okay, go
yeah,
ahead. I have the 2 boys, and boys is either you can be rough on them, you tough on them, you want to make them tough. But my daughter, dude, I don't yell at her. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
She runs the roost.
This 4th one, my wife was like, do you want it to be a boy? And I was like, absolutely not. Because like, if it's a boy, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
Like
He's gonna get the brunt of the
he's
abuse.
gonna get like, oh, your arm is broken. Shut up. No. Like I'm good in this lane. I need to stay in this lane.
Lou has 3 girls as well.
Okay, all right,
about the same age gap.
So
really.
like it's very much like.
His little one just broke her leg, so he's going through that.
Oh no, no. You talk to your daughters, you work things out. Like you have to process information because it's not like, yo, shut up. Stop. No, don't talk. Don't talk to your mom. Like, shut up. Go. And now with girls, it's like, listen, you should don't say this.
Right.
Say like maybe you should say. And it's just like, oh my god, like my dad would have just you know like
Yeah.
pow, like,
Totally.
shut up.
Totally.
Yeah, the boys are it's so much easier because I don't care about hurting her feelings. You know what I mean? My daughter, I don't want to hurt her feelings. That's what it comes down to.
Totally different
Yeah.
mentality. It is.
So yeah, I am thoroughly emasculated. I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
I'm
hey.
cool with it.
I tell you, it's a different world having, you know, 'cause when I had my 2 boys, my wife got pregnant with third. I'm like, it's a boy. There's no way it's not a boy. She carried had the same pregnancy. They said it was a girl. We knew it was. I'm like, I don't believe it. I think it's come out a boy. And it's finally a girl. And I'm like, wow, it's night and day. Night and day.
I mean, like holding your child for the first time. I don't care if it's the first one or the fourth one, right? Like, and you know, I've a girl. It's just like, man, you do that for any child. Like you hold them, you're just like the world has to conform to whatever this little thing you're holding like wants, right? So, but little girls, man, like they just
Melt your heart, no matter how much of a tough guy you are.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
like. But I thought I was the meanest person on the planet.
So I was the last Matthews in my family. My last name is Matthews, and I was the last boy. You know, of all the grandsons that my grandparents had, I was the last youngest boy. I shouldn't say the only boy. My cousin, who's older than me, had 2 daughters, and if he didn't have a boy, it would come down to me. So when I was married and we got pregnant, Jenny's like, well, what do you want it to be? I was like, I really hope it's a boy, just to carry on the family name. Not that we're a big legacy or anything, but I was like, I'd like the family name to survive and carry on. And it was a girl, Milani, our daughter, our firstborn. And after that, I was like, you know what? When we got pregnant again, I was like, you know what? I'm totally fine having a girl. Worked out. We had a boy, but you know, I fell so in love with having a daughter. Would not have bothered me at all if we had another girl. You know.
Yeah.
So.
The legacy, the name thing. I understand that. Like, and I'm not. That's not obviously. I can carry on my name, but the way I look at it, I was like, when I'm old, I'm an old fart, and I'm sitting in some like wheelchair, and there's like a family reunion, and I don't know, if it's day or night, right? And what do I want my daughters, whoever they're married to, whatever's going on, what do I want them to tell their children about me?
Right.
What do I want them? What are they going to say?
Right.
So
more so than that, you want them to be attracted to a person that has the same probably value system that you want to instill good values in them.
I want them to make sure they make good decisions and make good values.
Right,
but like as far as like the legacy, it's like what is going to be the lasting memory? Like if one of their children or someone says, hey, what was that drooling idiot over there in the corner like?
Yeah.
I want them to be able to say like, he was a good man, he was a good dad, and he did right by me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's all. I think at the end of the day, it's all we can. Legacies or
we were talking a couple episodes, many episodes we've discussed what is going on in the world in America and stuff, and we really brought it back to like, how do we make a difference? It starts at home.
Yeah.
It really starts at home. It's how you raise your kids. It really is.
It starts at home, and I think it gets more like not. We're like, especially now, like we're in everyone's homes, like Zoom and Google Meet, like it starts at home, and it's like, yeah, but like I'm a teacher, like, and I've been teaching online, like I'm in my student's home,
right?
So again, I feel like with all the piss, shit, and corruption that the world's going through right now, it's kind of forcing humanity to like realize, hey, we're a lot closer than a lot of us would like to think.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what needs to get out is that we are much more alike than we are not alike.
And,
correct.
And we like what I think what's going on is showing us is like, if someone gets sick in China, someone gets sick in Italy, someone getting sick in Spain, like it matters to us all the way over. Like we have to like start to figure out like, well, what does the global society look like? And what does that mean for like borders? Because, we have physical borders, but the information we share, the way we communicate, there are no borders.
No.
And how do we as a species, as the human race, like how do we deal with that? And we're used to, we're used to being bordered by language. We're used to be bordered by physical walls. We're used to being bordered by the information that one has and one doesn't have. And it's like, well, no, because if I want to learn,
going away now.
if,
Right?
if I want to learn, I can go on YouTube and learn how to speak Italian.
I just seen something. The new iOS 14. It's gonna literally translate 14 languages in real time. Translate a language in real time. Right. You're gonna be able to talk to people that you can't speak the same language.
It's to me, that is so crazy, and it's right. And someone asked me like, what language should my kids speak? And I was like, your kid should learn how to write Python, because it's a computer. Like your whatever language he wants to speak, if he writes Python, he can create whatever he wants, basically. Because that's our kids need to learn. Like, yes, should we learn Spanish and French, Italian? Yes, but they should learn Python. They should learn JavaScript. They should learn C.
That's what is Python? Explain that to me.
So Python is it's a programming language. It's like
the old HTML or whatever it was. Coding.
HTML is a programming language too, but HTML is basically what you would use to build a website.
Right.
CSS is what you would use to make the website look pretty. Like all websites are built on that. And basically, this is how we speak to each other. This is how we speak to someone across the world, right? And Python is just another programming language, but it's a little easier to learn than older ones are like C and like C#, which are like, the movies that we watch, and you watch all the little weird stuff, like that's C. Like if you, I don't want to say Mr. Robot, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like if you watch them type, I don't know if they're using C specifically, but they're on like Linux using like a programming language like to hack stuff. Basically, whether you live here or whether you live in Thailand, like
it's universal.
You're using these programming languages, right? So we should be teaching our kids this, because again, our world is closer.
It's much bigger.
Yeah, it's really much smaller.
Right?
It's smaller, So we have to, and it in a lot of ways, like it sucks, because
I guess I meant bigger in this respect that, like, my grandparents, for example, like we've strayed from a lot of maybe traditional values. Of my grandparents, for example, grew up in a small town, never experienced a lot outside of that. I mean, my grandfather was in the Pacific and served in the military and stuff. But when you don't see outside of that small box, it's hard to get lost in anything else. There's really, there was no infidelities. They were best friends till the day they died. We live in a world now where there's just so much at your fingertips. It's easy to get lost, and it sort of speaks to what you were talking about. You can so get lost in that world, and it's probably good advice to get your kids to be savvy in it, so that
it's not even savvy. It's just we have to figure out collectively, like, what is the route to get accurate and good information.
If you could answer that question for us, that would be.
It's hard. It's a hard question, because really, again, like, it's almost like saying, like, the way to God, would you read the Quran or would you read the Christian Bible, right? And that's basically what you're saying. Like, how do we get to good information? How do we make, what is the science behind getting to the good information? Because what we're saying is, science is the kind of end all way to if we make a scientific method for figuring out what's good information and what's valuable information, right? That doesn't even work.
Because people are taking science and throwing it out the window.
Here's the worst part. You're right. Like, people have taken science and thrown it out the window, and I don't agree with that. But I also don't agree with this with science. Like, you guys ever heard of like quantum physics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know you guys you mentioned Joe Rogan, and I watch him too. Like, I like how he'll go down a rabbit hole.
Sure.
Right.
Like, we're building computers based on quantum physics, and the brightest minds in this world, people like Sean Carroll and I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, Nima Ahmed, who's a theoretical physicist, right? They don't understand. Like, they tell you, we don't understand quantum physics.
Right.
We don't understand how it works, but we're building quantum computers, and I'm convinced that a lot of what's going on right now is that someone's running a program in a quantum computer, and we are basically we're running the script. We're
in the Matrix.
We're I don't want to call it the Matrix, because I feel like that's the thing, like, humans do. Like, humans, like, they categorize stuff. An
alternate universe, maybe. Is that a better way to say it?
No, you're saying it all. It's just what's happening to us now. There's not a name for. Like we're quick to see something, not understand it, and we want to understand it, and we're trying to understand it, so we name it, we categorize it. And it's like, we're in a point now that I think every human being, whatever's going on, we have to have a name for it. Every human being's got to be a part of it, regardless of what you speak, what you believe. And it's going to be the only way to name it the right way and categorize it and figure out, how do we fix it? How do we move on? You know, because if we open up, like say, if we open up the economy again and we get planes coming, we get New York to be the hub for planes coming in and out of the world, and then someone gets I forget, it's not corona, but there's another, the hand toy, I think there's another virus that was that had come out or is behind,
mutated, or?
The
behind
Kawasaki
corona.
one.
That's the kids one.
That's the
That's the kid one.
yeah.
There was another one before that. And how are we, like, if we're the hub for the world, and there's other hubs, like if London's a hub for, you know, for, like, we're gonna go through this again. Like, we have to have like a united system of our society, and it's got to work independent and dependent of like everyone else. And we just got to figure out what that looks like. And I'm not smart enough to know what it looks like. I can postulate and, you know, drink and philosophize about what
Definitely
it is.
sounds smarter than Roger. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, no question about that.
No, not myself included.
But if we become sort of programmed, though, and all become part of a system where we're all sort of digitalized and we're all in systems, and which we probably already are. If you got a cell phone, you probably already are. But we sort of remove humanity and humanitarian decisions from those things, you know?
You're right, and I think that's the here's what I think. Here's what I was telling some of my coworkers with this, and they kind of they hate how I get negative about some things sometimes, but I'm like, we are in the middle of either being Mad Max or this being Skynet. Like this is it. Like,
good way to put it.
We're not. We can be, you know, if we don't together figure out what the utopia is going to look like,
right,
then that's we're headed to some you know, dystopian movie that we've all seen. And like, man, we saw this shit coming because we're watching movies on it.
I mean, that's what I feel like. I mean, is this just the beginning of craziness? Like, you know, I mean, it's crazy as it's ever been, but is this still the beginning? That's what's scary.
Well, we've sort of always been in a society of laws, right? And it's almost becoming lawless to some degree in today's day and age.
I think it's becoming lawless because
clearly people are upset.
People, yes,
Clearly.
No, and
so how do we make everybody happy?
Well,
because there's two.
I don't think that's possible.
More so now than ever. It's almost. We said it the other day. It's almost like you have to stake, and we really do, to be middle. We try to, you know, understand both sides, left, right, black, white, doesn't matter. We try to follow right in the middle, but it's almost like you can't nowadays. You know what I mean?
It's because you can't, because there's not a singular place to get information. And there's not, and then when you get information, you have to check that information, and it's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you make it like a singular point that everyone can go, oh yeah, and
to do that, you would have to remove advertising, right? Because that's bias. As soon as you put one ad up, you're a biased network, correct?
It's removing advertising. It's which is like, again, like that's.
By the way, drink Schultz beer.
Which is, if you watch like if you watch YouTube, like you can see why TV is like screwed. You can see why like people hate the mainstream media, because it's like, I can get what I need to get without listening to all this nonsense.
But then you see YouTube censoring certain sectors of people.
Yeah, no, you're you're right.
They do.
Who they censored, like.
They seem to censor the right way more than the left.
No, that's not like they censor both. No, they do censor both. They censor the right when
I shouldn't say censor, demonetize.
It depends which is censor,
right.
which is basically censor.
Right.
It depends, I think, upon what side is saying. If the right is talking more, they do censor like the politics of the right, and I think it's because it's an algorithm. Like they say it's people, like, right, that's censoring, but it's like an algorithm. So there's certain words, there's certain things you can or can't say on the right. And if it sounds like it gets to the point of like controversial speech or hate speech, like they'll censor it.
Right.
But I think if it's with the left, I keep bumping in this thing. What they censor from the left is like I don't like. Have you heard like the left talk about how like the coronavirus is like it's like a genetically engineered like it's basically it was planted here.
Made
like
in
there's a I think they censor like the esoteric like not ramblings, but like the thought esoteric thought on the left.
You can't use words like esoteric down here with us.
All right, so like esoteric is like the.
I know what it is.
Oh, okay.
I actually know.
Okay. So I think they like the left. They censor that because I think the left tries to mainstream that, where the right has already mainstreamed like a religious like Christian identity, but they haven't mainstreamed.
Can you name a leftist?
So like
commentator that has been.
So what I would are we talking like far left or we like so we're
no I mean I can name a bunch of guys on the right that are all demonetized on YouTube,
so
and it seems like it removes. It's a private entity. Okay. I get it, but it seems like it removes freedom of speech. You know?
I would say like on the left they've demonetized guys like David Icke.
Okay.
And like the guy. All right, so we're gonna go rabbit hole crazy.
Yeah, let's get into it. These are the good
ones.
So
I wanna.
Lou, put on some popcorn.
I want to preface this with saying like, I watched David Icke. I like to write sci-fi stories, so don't be like, oh, this dude has lost his damn mind. Like I don't like agree with everything that David Icke said, but I will say that some of the things that David Icke has said has come to pass. Do I think all of it? And then we're gonna get into who he is, and you're gonna read him and be like,
he's like a foreshadower.
No, basically. So long story short, David Icke was a soccer player in London.
I could not have been further off.
No, wait, hold on. He played professional soccer, and I don't know what team it was for, but he was like good, famous, whatever. He goes on an ayahuasca trip, which is one day I want to do that one day because I think
I've done ayahuasca.
Yeah, I have to he goes on his trip. We
can talk after the podcast.
He goes on his trip. He comes back. And basically, he thinks that the world's being run by lizard people. Like that's basically, if brass tacks, he gets down to it, the world is being run by lizard people, and there's a secret cabal, and they basically, according to him, they take and they sexually abuse children, and they take the energy from them to like run the world. And he's doing this back in the 90s, like right back like we were like kids, right? Mm-hmm. And
well, it's very that storyline very prevalent.
If you watch it, and if you watch it like in the 90s, you'd be like, "Oh, this guy's lost his mind." Yeah. You watch it now, it's like
adrenochrome. You've heard of adrenochrome, right? Obviously,
I've never heard of adrenochrome.
That's sort of what you just described.
So basically, that he thinks that the world's being run by this cabal who basically has known how to like siphon the energy out of like young children. Fast forward to Lolita Island and Epstein and what that thing is for. That
is what adrenochrome is. It's you excite a child and you get them.
Well,
upset.
excite them. No, you torture them.
Well, torture them, I should say. Yeah.
So you fast forward to that and you realize, well, Epstein was very much into like science, and he was trying to get like use like, and again, like who was on his plane. If you look at it, he was. If you look at the certain people that are on his plane, they were all heavily involved in like this in Silicon Valley, and there are a lot of top like I don't want to names, but like you say, okay, well,
you don't want your brakes to fail on your way home.
So like if you say like, well, if that's true, like if Epstein was doing this and he was sexually like trafficking kids, like
kind of makes sense.
So basically he's been censored because he's saying straight up like they engineer coronavirus. It's not from if you ask him, it's not from China. It was made in North Carolina, and there's this other guy named Dr. Bashar, who was on an office down in North Carolina, who says it was made down there and it's from there, but it got shipped to the person who created it is from China, but they created it in North Carolina. It's like, and again, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying it's out there for you to read.
Very early on, Frankie sent me an article very early on that it was Harvard professor, right, that were getting funded by China,
right,
and it potentially could have started there. But again, we get all this information overload,
but it's on purpose,
right?
Like it is.
Like I said, I heard Rogan. I was listening today. I had to get Eric Weinstein on, and he was saying he doesn't think like they say, it's from a bat. It's like it's from a bat and it transferred to humans right away. It just doesn't make sense because viruses don't do that. They have to mutate to be able to transfer from human to human. They just transfer from bat to human. So he thinks it was made in the lab.
And it's bigger than like I don't have the wherewithal. And I think none of us have to know for sure. But I feel like like we've been eating all kinds of shit for thousands of years as humans. Like all of a sudden someone eats a bat and this shit just sparks. So. Yeah. And it's hard to say like what's real and what's fake, but but getting back to your point, like David Icke is a guy who's been censored. Dr. Bashar is a guy who's been censored. There's another, and when these guys, David Icke doesn't lean left more than like David Icke thinks it's a class war with him and with him more than anything. So and I think that's why he's gotten censored. Mm-hmm. And I think with the right, I think what we don't see on the ground, like us, like both sides are getting censored, but it gets censored when it comes to class because they don't care about the race and the religion because that's the thing that keeps us going, like the top, right? It's when you start to talk about class because class affects all of us. Mm-hmm. There's either you got the money or you don't. So if you don't got the money, if everybody in the world that didn't have the money got together and said we want the money, like then shit would really go down.
But the one thing that is blind to race is capitalism. It's completely blind to race. Well, I mean, it's money green.
It's not blind to race. It's just it's not. We live in we kind of live in a plutocracy, a kleptocracy.
How is it not blind to race?
How is it not blind to race? Right. Capitalism, because the people in this country traditionally don't have money are blacks and don't have access to money.
Have you heard Morgan Freeman speak on this subject?
I've heard Morgan Freeman speak on this subject. He's the one guy he's like the 1%, out of the 1% of black people in this country.
Well, I'm a white guy. You've certainly been much more successful in your life than I have, and I think probably your work ethic was better than mine. So yeah, that's how capitalism works.
That's not how capitalism works. It's not.
Well, enlighten me.
You see capitalism in its purest form, okay, and you can remove the other mitigating factors from capitalism that drive it. Like because I was successful, because my athleticism gave me success, it doesn't mean that I didn't have the same barriers that other blacks did, mm-hmm. right? Or didn't have the same opportunities. It's not.
I'm not saying people aren't born into harder times maybe than I was or Frankie. I mean, that exists on both fronts, I believe. I mean, this is some dirt poor white guys growing up in trailer parks in the middle of Alabama that, probably will never make it out of that trailer park. I mean, it happens. And I understand what you're saying, but I believe that capitalism doesn't see a color.
I don't know about that just because based on, back in the day, capitalism did especially back in the day.
We're talking back in the day. I'm talking present day.
Okay, well, it still has its effects. I feel like even the back in the day stuff still has effects today.
Well, we were talking about like when does all this race relations end? And to some degree, it ends when we stop talking about it. You know what I mean?
See,
I don't know.
Doesn't end when we stop. It doesn't end when we stop talking about it because we've never talked about it.
Yeah, I think
we have to talk.
You need
about
more
it.
dialogue.
Oh, wait, you don't think we've talked about it?
I'm not you.
No. I mean, as a culture,
I think
it's talked about
it's like
incessantly.
It's like a taboo talk.
Seems to be talked about. Would you agree with this? Seems to be talked about much more at election time. Would you agree with that statement?
No.
Okay.
I think this country has yet to collectively deal with race on a whole. And I think we've been, again, pushed to not have that conversation. And I think what happened to George Floyd ignited that conversation, but it's a conversation that's needed to be had. It's like when you get into a fight with your wife and you're not getting any, right? And you know that in order for me to get some, I'm gonna have to have this talk. Like we got to figure this out because she's not talking to me. Not like it's like this country has not dealt with it, and it's not dealt with it on such a systemic and just overall level that it bleeds into every single thing we are as a society and as a culture. And you can't to talk about capitalism just in its purest form. That makes sense, and you're right, and I understand where you're coming. But I think people of color, I think gay people, LGBTQ, like they don't get to have pure conversations, and I think that is the crux of it. Like we don't. I've raised money for I love this town. Like I'm a Tom's River kid, right? I've raised money for the police office, like here, like doing different stuff, right? When I first moved here, my older brother had this bubble jacket. Remember those bubble, like the starter jackets, whatever?
Missy Elliott jackets.
When I first moved here, I took it to put it on to go out, and he's like, "Don't put that on." And I was like, fuck you, whatever, I'm putting it on, I'm going. My mother was taking me to a party, and we got pulled over, right? And the guy was like, looking at me, looked at the jacket, he's like, "Can you get out of the car?" My mom's like, "He's not getting out of the car." And he wanted to go in the trunk. She wouldn't let him in the trunk. He wanted me out of the car. And she wouldn't do it. And
You're with your mother?
I'm with my mother.
Wow.
I'm 14 years old. And she told them to call, and if people who are from this town and like know this town, she told them to call a guy named Ace Cassidy. And Ace is like Tom's River, like he's north, south, whatever. Like if you're old enough and you know that, like you know the Cassidy family, like they're like a Tom's River staple, whatever. And they called him, and they let me go. And
when you say let you go, and I'm not saying that you weren't hurt. I'm not saying that's not a true story. I totally believe you. But let you go. What did he have you? Wouldn't he had to let you go if there was nothing there? And then you could potentially.
You saw a man 2 weeks ago get killed on live TV.
Right.
Do you think they had to let me go? Like that, like this.
No, and nobody, not one human being agrees with what happened. I'm saying you can't condemn an entire group of police officers.
No one's condemning an entire group of police officers. And I'm going to come back to that. But to answer your question, like you've gone, now not you personally, but
yeah, I know what you're saying.
You've gone through your life, and you've not had to deal with that. Those things don't lurk in the back of your mind. Those things they go beyond capitalism and education.
But I wasn't having that conversation. I was just saying capitalism.
That's what I'm saying. Like you are having one conversation. When I talk to you about this stuff, I'm having like 12.
Yeah, okay.
Like, and that's what racism is, a cancer, and it bleeds at the core of our society. Right. And it's in everything, and it rots everything. And you can't have one conversation with me, because if I can keep that memory, right, but still be a son of this place, and God knows, like, the shit I did in high school, if I wasn't who I was, like, I wouldn't be shit. And I had people from this town who are white, who were close to me, who took care of me, and because they cared about me, regardless of my skin color, whatever, like, I got out of this town, and I'll always love that town. Because I always love this town because of that. Like this is home, right? Yeah. But I still have not dated girls because their parents are like, you can't date that boy because he's black. I've had issues with police, and not any, like I got there's guys on the force now that I played ball with in high school. I've had to deal with those issues, and those issues are not separate from my experience. My issues, my color, my race is not separate from the issues that I've dealt with, and as much as I love this town, like I still have to contend and deal with those issues. And I think that's the problem with our country, is that we don't do that. Like you can't be upset that Colin Kaepernick knelt and you're saying like, well, he shouldn't kneel. Like he's like, well, what should he do? Like, what is it like? If he's telling you like there's racism and a systemic racism in our police system, and he kneels to show in his peaceful protest, and you're like, no, he can't do it. And then you kick him out of the NFL. He can't even play, and he's better than a shitload of quarterbacks that are in there right now. And
well,
you fast.
I think that's changing though. He's supposedly getting picked up.
Who gives a
past the point?
Gives a
Past
shit.
the point at this point, right?
And you fast forward. We watched this dude kill this man.
Right.
And now people are out protesting, and everybody's like, oh, they're looters, or this is too much, or it's like because you won't deal with the elephant in the room. And as far as like everybody's saying like, you know, you can't there's one or two bad apples, right? Like there's one or two bad, like no one ever finishes that quote, that saying. One or two bad apples spoils the bunch. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And nothing says that more than the New York City, the leader of the New York City Police Officers Union gets up there and he cries and he bitches and moans about the state of police officers in that city after we watched them run through a crowd, and you're watching them beat the shit out of people constantly who've got white and black. And that's what, and people don't understand, like, racism is hate, and hate doesn't see a color. I've watched, in the last 4 weeks, we've watched on film, I've watched a shitload of white people get the shit kicked out of them because they're holding a Black Lives Matter sign, or because they're out there protesting because this racism, it's got to stop, and we got to talk about it. And no one, and trust me, like, yo, that conversation is hard.
But right, and I agree with you, and we do have to have that conversation, and we want. Frankie and I, we all want to start a home and not raise our children that way. So that's how it starts at home. But it's not solely one-sided. There are white shop owners that are standing out there that are literally getting killed or their asses beat or whatever solely because they're white. Now, I understand that systematically and history-wise, I get it, and I totally understand that. But racism doesn't just have to be a one-sided thing.
So prejudice is two-sided.
Okay.
Racism is one-sided.
Okay, maybe I phrased it incorrectly.
So no, but that's, and I understand what you're saying, and it's not, and I don't want to take away.
David Dorn. I mean, there's a guy that was killed by another black guy just for, because the guy wanted to steal a TV.
I understand. Like it's not. I don't want to take away because those issues are real, and it's not. It's not saying one we can have a. I don't think we can have a conversation through a looking at one thing collectively. It's bigger than that. Yes, and the big thing is it's racism. Mm-hmm. It is the thing, xenophobia. It is the cancer that is wrought through every single thing in the society. Everything that we say that makes us American, racism has destroyed. We talk about how we're the home. This country's the home is the greatest generation. That when a man got an army to kill millions of Jews, we left our home to fight them because globally that shit was crazy. Fast forward to 2017, the very same people who are like that are marching in our backyard, in Virginia, in Charlottesville. What the hell is that? Like what? Like racism? Racism, implicit bias. Like if you can never like really narrow it down and identify it and say this. How do we? I'm asking a question. How do we tackle it? How do we do it? You show me a cause and I'll march against it. I'll stand side by. But if I can't see it, other than changing it in my household with my children, which I know that I am, and Frankie does the same way. I don't teach my kids to see color. Then how do I stand and help? How do we help that? And this comes to the hard conversation, because if racism is in everything, we have to talk about everything. Okay. And the way it's going to look is ugly, because what it means is, as mad as we are, people of color and minorities, about the things that are going on, at some point, we're going to have to shut up and let you talk. and you're going to say something fucked up, and I'm sorry I'm cursing or going we're going to say something fucked up and it's going to be wrong, and we have to have the presence of mind and the wherewithal to not bite your head off and let you say it, because if we don't let you say it, then it's never going to get resolved. And that's going to be hard. But what is also going to be hard is that when you are shown how racism has filtered in every part of our society, and you're shown how you've benefited from it, and we need to remove it, that's going to be hard. And I'll give you an example. This is I don't know. Let me think about how I'm going to word this. You seen The Joker? Mm-hmm. All right. It's a good movie. Mm-hmm. It is not a timely movie. And people say, oh, like you get, they call them social justice warriors. You get people, oh, I hate it. Like I hated it. I don't know why I didn't like it. I didn't. And they don't. If you ask a person why I didn't like it, if you like a minority or whatever, if you ask them, they might not be able to articulate why I didn't like it. It's something they're not sure how to say it. And I like movies. I love to write. I watch movies all the time. And it was a good movie, but I didn't like it. And I think the reason is because if you talk to a lot of people, loved it because it was like a movie about a guy getting back at the system. And it was like all the craziness. Like if you listen to Todd Phillips, the guy who directed it, the guy who created it, you listen to him, he says like, oh, we thought we could sneak one in. And, he says, oh, how it's good. How hard is it to make like a Hangover movie? Mm-hmm. Like how hard is it to make like a movie about toxic masculinity? Basically is what he was saying, right? And it's like, and I'm watching, I'm like, I've seen this movie. I've seen Taxi Driver. I've seen Fallen Down. I've seen Dirty Harry. Like I've seen this movie. Why this movie? Why now? Is it because of Me Too? Is it because of culturally, like there's a cultural shift in the way we're dealing with stuff. Like there's a cultural shift in our stories. Like, yeah, there's Captain Marvel, there's Black Panther, and it's like Todd Phillips didn't make this movie because he thought it was gonna it was gonna inspire people. He thought it was a good movie. I feel like he made it because he's pissed that he feels like the system that gave him a chance to make those toxic masculine movies was shitting on him, because people want to see themselves in these stories.
Has he commented on this? I mean,
I'm summarizing what he like. Basically, I don't want to totally shit, because again, like it's a good movie. Like the part of me that loves comic book.
In how two people can see it. I just see it as a really well done, slow moving. Obviously, in the beginning, took a while to build up speed, but I like those type of movies. But I just saw it as a crazy guy, exactly like you said, looking to get back at the system. But he was clinically fucking insane, and I didn't see anything beyond that. But I'm a bit of a simpleton.
No, it's not. No. Because, and I don't want to say that because I don't want to like.
No, you can assault me. I'm good.
No, it just. No one, and this is gonna sound. It's like.
If the director himself has not interviewed about this and he hasn't said like verbatim what I'm saying. Right. I'm inferring like what I feel like that movie resembles, and it resembles like it resembles like people are tired of white guys getting shit on because the world thinks they've done something fucked up and they haven't, and everybody's like, oh, he raped me, oh, he said this or and it's like that movie is like, to me, it's like homage to like that, we run this system sucks, so I'm going to change it. It's like, we've seen that story. It's interesting.
And it's like, again, like if you've seen Taxi Driver, if you've seen Falling Down, if you've seen any Dirty Harry movie, like you've seen this story, and everybody's like, it's so great, and it's so great. And I'm like, yeah, it's good, but can we see something else? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we're at. Like, as a culture, like we need to not see people getting their neck stepped on. When 3 years ago, a guy lost his job, and he's one of the best at the time, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He lost his job because he was just trying to highlight how systemically wrong this is, right? So he lost his job because the president said, "Oh, like he shouldn't be playing." Like, we need to see as a people something else.
Sort of, correct me if I'm wrong. Sort of censorship in a way, which is a very, very
I'm not
slippery
talking.
slope.
I'm not talking censorship. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, culturally, that movie is.
Well, here's what I was talking about with capitalism. Capitalism is blind. Don't spend your money to go see the movie, right? Capitalism doesn't see color. If that's how people feel, don't spend the money, and the movie won't be a blockbuster hit, and they'll never make another one like it.
But hold on. Again, like you're picking and choosing when you want capitalism to be blind. Like it's not. Capitalism isn't blind.
No,
like,
I wasn't actually picking and choosing. I was taking your example.
Well, no, I'm saying like we have to talk about all of it. Like it's got to be like we have to change the way we present our stories to our children. We have to change the way we have to change the way we present our education. Like it's all and it sounds like to not make it race based. We have to talk about how right now it's race based. We have to talk and figure it out. And I don't think the country collectively, the white America collectively, is not really ready to understand the deep systemic issues because of such structural implicit bias. Like you're not.
They don't want to feel guilty.
It's not. It's not that they don't want to feel guilty. I don't think like. And I don't want to jump into politics, but our conservative thought leaders have not put this country in a position to deal with race, because I don't think conservatism. All right, we're gonna talk about politics. I haven't had enough to drink. I really have not had enough. Like,
it's a tricky one, man, because
I don't want to talk about politics because I don't want to. I want to talk about racism, but again, like racism, it is in everything, and it's in our stories. It's in our history. It's in everything, and we have to root it out systematically, and it's a conversation we all have to have. And like, all right, here, great example. There is a statue of a white guy who's never existed in Philadelphia right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because
there's a lot of statues of Santa Claus too.
But if we can have those statues, like, can we get rid of the Confederate statues? Like, do we need that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do we need that? And it's not. I'm not you. It's not you. Yeah. But, and again, like, it's just. I love Rocky. Like, I can. The cultural significance of Rocky, regardless of black, white, or whatever, is instilled in my nature. Like, right. I don't care if you grew up in the 80s. Or if you grew up before the 80s, right, and you watched the Rocky movie, I don't care what color you are, you were shadowboxing in your living room watching Rocky, right? Like, we have that. I'm not saying pull down the Rocky statue, because then I sound like some crazy, like,
maybe put one up of Apollo Creed.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying we can keep Rocky. Rocky should stay there. Right. But let's get rid of the goddamn Confederate statues.
A lot of those Confederate statues came. It's not like they were there in the beginning.
That's what
I'm
saying. Like,
they came in during the Civil Rights Movement, kind of to give FU to black people.
And also, like, we can get rid of those because we have statues. Like, all right, can we at least replace all the Confederate statues with statues of Rocky? Like, I'm cool with that. Like, that's
what about like George Washington?
Yeah, right.
And
George Washington getting torn down and stuff. Like,
where does
it end?
I think those people that are tearing those statues down are just doing it to fucking rile.
I don't even think they know what they're tearing down. To be quite honest with you.
But listen, and that goes back to my whole point. Those are the conversations that we have to have, and it's not easy because our history is littered with slavery. Like it's littered with oppression, right? So we're not saying get rid of the history. We're just saying get rid of the systems that empower the oppression that we've already had. That's what we're saying. So getting rid of George Washington, getting rid of the first president of the United States because he was a slave owner, that's a tough sell for me. Because again, I think the thing, like it goes back to the story I told you about me being here. Like you have to kind of live with both things. You have to understand, like, I love this town. This happened to me. Like racism has happened to me in this town I love. George Washington is the first president of the United States, and he gave us the freedom from an empirical, tyrannical nation.
Right.
Like we have to keep that.
I think there's a certain aspect though or a certain group that would like to erase history. It is still our history, good, bad, or ugly, and it has to be discussed. I'm not saying that any of them should be, I guess, martyred in any way or anything like that. But it's still history is history. As long as it's told accurately, it's
you're
history.
Right. But then that's the thing; it's not told accurately.
Right.
Like
right.
We've got revisionist history.
Christopher Columbus is a great example.
It's a great That's a great example. Like why should we have like the first thing we should have learned about Christopher Columbus?
I don't know. I read today. I was reading something on Google, and it was written by an Indian reservation paper or Tribune or something like that, and it was completely 180 degrees opposite of what you learned as a kid. Now I don't know which to believe. I try to gather as much information as I can and figure out what is more believable. And I'm definitely a facts and a data guy. But it's I'm reading this and I'm like, listen, this could be pinpoint. Basically Columbus was a rapist and he never landed in America. He landed in the islands, and and I read it. I'm like, how does anybody decipher what is actually correct and what? Same as if you literally go from CNN, you flip the channel, you go to Fox News. They literally are telling the same story two exact opposite different ways.
Yeah.
How do you? I try to watch both and try to come up with my own conclusion.
I don't watch both of them.
Not just those two, but
I think. All right. How am I going to put this? I'm going to go like way left field.
Yeah, hit me with it.
Do you believe in God?
This is a good one. This is where Frankie gets me. This is where Frankie gets me because I'm a tangible, touchable guy, right?
Okay.
And the one thing that I stray, and I tell him all the time, I'm the one that said, listen, break my balls because I'm a God-fearing man.
Okay.
But I'm not in a traditional sense. I just believe there's something after. I don't think you.
What do you think is God?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that question. I don't know. I'm not a traditional Bible guy.
What do you
like me?
I think it's
I'm
more
not traditional religion.
Okay.
But to me, God is nature. God is energy.
That's
God is good luck. God is bad luck.
Right.
Okay.
God, to me, it's omnipresent.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
I'm the same.
Would you want to meet it? God.
Would I want to meet it? Well, again, I don't know that we're talking about a tangible thing. I think we're talking about an energy,
an aura.
An aura.
I would never want to meet. I think the thing that makes the stars shine and makes the planets move, that thing is not God.
I'm not going to argue with that.
That's not God, right?
I'm not going to argue with that.
I would never want to meet that thing like this, in this husk, in this flesh. Sorry.
No,
I
I'm
need
good.
one more whiskey because I'm.
Explain that.
I never want to meet that thing, because that thing operates on a process that is way beyond anything I could ever
Sure.
think of, dream of. That thing would be horrifying.
Sure.
To meet the thing that moves.
Sure.
Like
Right.
you're basically meeting gravity
in 7 days.
How do
you
you?
did it,
Yeah. How do you meet? Like how do you meet? How do you interface? How do you experience?
I think it's the best way man could describe
So-
it back when it was written in the Bible, right?
Right. So
Right, which is why there's a New Testament.
So I think if we wanted to meet God, you'd have to let every sentient organism that is conscious of this experience dictate what God is. I think that it would almost be like one language, one unit, like one. That's how we experience God, and I think that's our whole fight. Is God Muslim? Is he Christian? Or is he? Or are you a Tao? All this other. words and symbols and language. That shit's nonsense, right? Like God is, like, we made God up. Like God, like, and not, and it's not bad. Like, and reciprocally, because
is it for Judeo-Christian values? It's sort of the way to mold society,
It's not even. It's just God is a way to render consciousness between human beings.
Like, a value system.
Like, no, not even that value. Just render consciousness. Render the experience between me and you right now. That is God. We made it up, and because we made it up, it made us. Because we direct our life. Everyone has a religion. Whether you believe in God, whether you don't believe in God, whether you believe, like, God is.
Let me ask both you guys something. Okay. I know the answer for Frankie, but if your feelings are that, are your children baptized?
No.
No. Frankie's are, right?
Okay.
So
and that's
mine are.
Okay.
So it's almost like erring on the side of caution.
It's not. It's.
I'm not like. It's more a tradition thing. I think most people.
But what is the tradition? And what, you know?
Well,
what I mean?
Yeah, it's because
tangible.
It's how you grew up.
Tangible, meaningful repetition of experience is a tradition, right? Like, that's it, because it means something. Does it mean God? If you believe it, it does. We, like, it's like a chicken or the egg. The chicken is the egg. God is us, and we are God.
It makes people feel good about dying. People get more religious, typically speaking, towards the end of their life, I think.
I'm not gonna get more religious. Like, I mean, not religious like traditional, like what we like. I'm
saying people in general, not you.
We used to not exist, and then we existed, and we're not going to exist again. And I don't know what the experience is when I not existed.
I agree.
But
I don't think anybody.
Well, that's what people say. Hey, do you remember what it was like before you were born?
Yeah.
No. Well, that's what that's going to be like.
Yeah, and that's so.
It's not a very.
You were talking about. We were talking about DMT, the third eye, and what people see, right?
Right.
People, yeah.
It's like
people think that they see the afterlife, and they're not. They're just.
My wife won't
they're
let me.
Experiencing some of the 90% of your brain that you're not using. You
know?
No,
I think you use it. Yeah. I think you use it. I think you. No, I want, like, I think you
what
use.
What did I say?
No, but I think you use it. I think our bodies, our flesh, like we think about experience, like our brain, like our flesh, our skin, our words, like everything that comes out of our mouths, everything that we intake, we process. We're processing information about this room right now that we don't even realize we're processing, as much as breathing. Like, I don't think, dude, like, as soon as this country lets go of, or people, society, we let go of, like, this idea of just, we have to have structure without structure. We have to know when we create our structure, this world can build its God. It can build it and maintain its God. That's because that's what humans do. We categorize stuff, we build it, and we maintain it. And if we let every human being in this world do that, we can look at the face of God and know that it's God because it is us, because we created it, right? And know that if a meteorite...
Listen, all I know is I want to do DMT with you.
No, I don't want to...
You got some rabbit holes, and we're going to have fun.
And if a meteorite in the shape of a hoagie hits us and we all go, well, then hell, that's the thing that there's no name. Whatever that does, there's no name for it. We don't know what it is. We call it God because God is supposed to be this abstract end all. And it's like, I don't want to know that name. You know, I don't want to know what that is. Not like this. Because like this,
but some people find, and I get what you're saying, and I think Frankie and I tend to fall more in that belief system. But someone like my dad, he finds such solace every morning from 6 a.m. every morning. I get a biblical quote from my father every morning, and I'm nowhere even close to as religious or as my father is. I always say I'm a God-fearing man, and I am, but not in the traditional sense of anyone. But if you took that away from him and a lot of people, you would remove all hope from them.
And that's and I think, like, and again, like, people might, like, say, oh, I'm shitting. I'm not shitting on religion because it is important. It is value, and we all have different experiences, and we all need different ways to structure our experiences. So it's important. Like,
have you ever done hallucinogens? Anything? Any hallucinogenics?
I'm a teacher at elementary school.
Gotcha.
We'll talk off.
But but we all have different experiences, and I think God as if you don't speak my language, if you don't believe what I believe, God is structure. So your Father does that.
Right,
that is what it is, and that's in the worship.
And he's an all forgiving God, so it makes people feel good. Like, oh God, I did this, but God forgives me. You know?
He could come here and he could shit on everything I just said, and I'd be like, what? But
well, I'm only a fighter, so I've done some hallucinogens, and I think, like I said, I'm not religious type of guy with formal religion or traditional religion, but when you do hallucinogens, it shows you that there's some spirituality out there. It does bring you to that. So it makes me think, like, is it God or is it? I don't know what it is, but it's something.
I tell you what it is. I will. No, I'm not gonna tell you what it is because I'm gonna postulate on what I think it is. Right? There are, like, scientists have measured like 11 spatial dimensions. They at least think that there are 11 dimensions. Like this right here, where we're in. This is 3 dimensions plus time. So we're in 4D, right? I think when you do hallucinogens, I think when you do like the right ones, I think your body measures the other dimensions, and I think you don't need math. It just messes you up because you measure like things they're there. Like it's there. You're like, oh my God, this is actually here, and I think that's what. Well,
it's got to be unmasking or unblocking something that isn't allow you to get there.
Because it's the flesh.
Right.
It's that, like, this is just experience. This is a way to like if there's a singular energy that flows like between like all of us, right? Like between like whether it flows like on the other side of the universe to like the Big Bang, right? If we're all like, you ever heard like the expression like we're all made of stardust, like we're all right. So if the Big Bang happened, that there's just point somewhere in the universe that's the center of the universe, right? We're all made of that. So if that explosion, if the universe is expanding and you know, time is basically only lodged to us, then everything else is moving and we're standing still. Like this flesh is just a filter to experience that explosion. Like that's all it is. It's not that energy, that thing it's there, it's here. It's like we just don't. We use technology to experience it, to measure it, and we use drugs to experience it. And those things are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Because one you can do it, you can experience it, and you can measure all that stuff outward with technology, because it lets you see it without experience it. Like that's what technology lets you see. You think you experience it, like every time you watch something that's funny, or you watch like a fail video, or you watch like you think you're experiencing it.
How do you explain?
You're not. Like
feelings,
it's like almost like you ever heard of like this, the thought experience, Mary's room. So it's the thought experience. Like it's a thought experiment. It's a Jaduncan, right? It's basically it's the theory is there's this super scientist. Her name is Mary. She's never left this room, and she's experienced everything there is to know. Everything there is in the world, she's experienced it, right? But she leaves her room one day, and for the first time, she sees the color red.
Wait, experienced it virtually.
Like she knows everything there is to know.
Okay.
Like she's never left this room, but she knows everything.
Okay.
Everything there is to know about the universe, how it works, whatever. She leaves this room and she sees red for the first time, leaving the room. Has she experienced something new? And that's the thought. Like that's the question. It's kind of where, and I'm not a scientist.
I would say yes, because your original statement was she's experienced everything. Clearly, she hasn't. She never saw red.
Well, some people would say, yeah, she knows. Yeah. She knows the hexadecimal code for red. She knows the color value for red. She's studied red.
Right.
But she's never left the room and seen. The room isn't.
But maybe
the room is in black and white.
Maybe that's what we are. Is that's why we're given the 5 senses, right? Is to experience those things in this realm that we're in.
We're to experience these things without, almost like, if we're all here, right, and there was no flesh. But whatever, just consciousness, right? If it was all here, like I wouldn't need to know how you're feeling, because I would know.
Correct.
How do I?
It's like empathy.
Yeah,
right?
like that's like if you ask me, like God, like the the loving Christian God or all God, like every time someone says God is a benevolent creature, that's just the word empathy. Like we need to like that's a thing. It's tangible. Like we're using technology right now. We can see it. You know, that's. I might need another one.
I got you.
But.
But now you're saying, like you said before, we experience, you know, God through either technology or or drugs. But the drugs, to me, they're not drugs because they're
to me they're not drugs.
Right. And the earth gave it to us.
All right,
does that kind of mean something? Never enough.
I'll make it work. It's just. I don't want to get into like simulation theory because I don't think no, because I know I'm kind of like. Talking, I'm bouncing like it's because I don't think it's simulation theory. I think like all right, this
people say the possibility of us being a simulation is greater than us not being a simulation.
Well, we were talking upstairs about Elon Musk. He's saying that is a definite possibility, right?
He's
I know he's
right and he's wrong. No, he's genius. He's just here's what I'm saying. All right, you're like I keep bouncing around like all these weird ideas. You ever heard of Gödel's incompleteness theorem? All right, I'm going to go super simple. Like there's, all right, I'm going to backtrack and tell a story. I wrote this weird like 4-page like idea, and I teach at a Montessori school in Short Hills. And if you're a Jersey person, you know Short Hills, and you know like it's an affluent neighborhood, right? So I teach like affluent like children. Some of them are affluent kids, and one particular student. Knew someone who was like went to MIT, is like a physicist, this guy is like just stupid smart. And I could show it to you. You have a piece of paper?
Yes.
I could
underneath right there, yep. I
could show it. Can I get a pen? Pencil? I'm not like that's fine. I'm not like I'm not like taking up time. I'm not.
No,
dude.
This is all as long as we're not like stuttering for conversation. We're
all good. This is phenomenal.
Can I rip this out?
You can do whatever you want.
So I wrote this thing, and it is basically. I got like I don't want to say like a vision or whatever because I don't want to. I don't want to cheapen the experience, but I got an idea for something, and then I wrote it up, and I wasn't sure like what it meant, and this one child is his parent who's a lot smarter than me. I sent it to him, and he goes, "I got this friend who went to MIT, who's a physicist, a theoretical physicist. So I'll show it to him and see what he says." It's like, all right, great. So the guy read it, and he goes, "Hey, I'd like to meet you." Like, and I'm like, "Holy shit! Like what? Like." What am I going to talk? I'm meeting him at Dunkin' Donuts. Like, what am I going to talk to this guy about? So I'm like, I'm just going to bring my notebook, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to listen to him talk because there's nothing of. I've played like don't remember football games that I've played. There's nothing of value I'm going to bring to to this man. So I'm just going to listen. So he goes. I read your thing. It's basically it's cool. Like oh, that's nice. He goes, but I want you to look at this. So he writes this to me. All right.
Statement on the back of this paper is false. Statement on the back of this paper is true.
Right. So he writes that, and he's like, it's all bullshit. Like this guy went to MIT. Like basically, and we had a long conversation. We're going to summarize what basically he's like. It's all bullshit. We're going to die if a meteor hits us, it's probably not a bad thing. Maybe we can start over. So
It's a little, it's a little
scary, man. That's scary.
But no,
It's
but what he
real.
said, but it was it was some real shit. And he wrote that to me, and he's like, he basically was like, look, he was like, what are you? He's like, I was 39 at the time, I was 38, 39. He's like, how old are you? And I was 38, I was 39. And he's like, you got your whole life to like. She's like, just keep reading, keep learning, keep studying. Like it'll come. But that is basically Goodell's.
So it's a big circle jerk.
It's a paradox, but it's based off of Gödel's incompleteness theorem, and it's basically and I've read a couple papers on it, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've read it like 10 times. It's still Chinese, but what I've gathered from it is this: it's basically you can't name true, false, invalid, valid, right? Doesn't explain everything that happens in the universe. Like you can't, once you name something, once something is of a set, it's a part of the set. So if you really need to figure out something, you can't do it within the set because whatever's outside of the set is really what you need to measure the universe. Like that's me talking. Basically, if you want to measure the will of God, you've got to be outside of the set to measure God. So God, we've named it. Like it's got a name. So we can measure its influence in our society, right? So that's why I say, like, I don't want to meet whatever that thing is that's moving shit around. Like, I don't want to meet that like this because I'm not in the right frame of like state of being, whatever that being is, to interface with that thing, right? So whatever we write up, like if you can't break or if you can't figure out his incompleteness theorem, you're
not going to figure out
yeah,
much.
yeah, like that. But he bases all of his stuff off like that. Like you could be the greatest mathematician in the world. Like you're doing math for things that are already like you're not. Like what are you saying? You know, you're not. Once this problem comes up, and in the mathematics world, that incompleteness theorem is like, it's trying to find the answer to loop quantum gravity, which is just like trying to find the answer to the theory of everything. Basically, that's like the mathematician's theory of everything is whatever is on the other side of the incompleteness theorem. You know, whatever's outside the set.
But so is 2 + 2 4?
Yeah, it's 4, but
As we know it, right?
It's in the set.
huh? It's in the set.
Outside the set.
2 is in the set. We know 2. We know 4.
But the most interesting things, conversational wise, are always things outside the set, right? What you can't explain.
We
what there's-
don't. We know, but that's the thing. We're in the set. Like we're in the Matrix.
Right. We were just talking about God, though. That is
Neo
outside
never
the
got
set.
out of the Matrix. That's
Yeah.
like Neo never got out. That's basically what we're saying. Like we all think, oh, at the end he got out. No, he's never. He's not. None of us are outside of the set because everything we experience, whether we can explain it or not, is in the set. Whatever, when you die, right, and if you think you go to the pearly white gates and you get judged by St. Paul's, or I think it's the St. Paul. That's I don't know. There's a Catholic
Peter,
Christian.
right?
Peter.
I think it's Peter.
Everybody's like, what? No, like that's, or if you believe, you know, if you believe in Egyptian, if you believe in no, it's not theology, or maybe it is, but like if you believe that you get the feather in the heart and you weigh the scales and you're sitting in front of set, like whatever you believe, like all that shit's in the set, like and and that's fine. It's not, and I'm not saying like don't believe it, like, or I'm wrong, like this a little old me against like thousands of years of history and culture and people like postulating and stuff. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm just saying is, from a mathematical standpoint, math is supposed to be the most accurate way we can measure things around us. Like if you love science and you don't understand math, then you're really a philosopher. Really? Like, right? Like that's kind of really, and that's, I'm being crude about saying it, but that's really what you are. So we're all basically philosophers.
That's interesting, yeah.
Right? So math is the one way, it's the one tool that we have to measure the universe with exactness. And if you haven't figured out Gödel's incompleteness theorem, you can never measure the universe with exactness, because if you think you found the answer, you're still in the set. That's the paradox. Like that's so to me, like if we want to be a united world, we should just build God. Just fucking just build it. Build it.
But is that AI?
Huh?
Is that AI?
It's a marriage with AI. You have to marry it and you have to update it. Like you basically, I'm a sci-fi writer. I think about this stuff. I don't.
But does AI scare you?
Yeah,
Right?
it should. Yeah, it should. But if you ignore it, you become Skynet. Like if you so you can't ignore it because it's there because it does. Again, we were talking about this before. Like my kids, like our kids, all of our kids, if they have a hard problem, if there's something they don't know, they're going to ask Google. You know why they're going to ask Google? Because that's what we do. All of us. Like when I don't know something, I go ask the AI. You know, if you like whether it's Google or Microsoft Edge or DuckDuckGo or whatever, that's what I ask. That's what we're all doing it. So what I'm just saying is, if we're all doing it, that's why net neutrality. That's the thing that's going to kill us. Like I don't care what politics you follow. They
just changed the law.
Yeah, because if we all don't have access to their information, if they're giving us access to the information that they want, then we're screwed. Like we all need to have access
to everything.
To everything. And yeah, there's going to be issues with that because people are going to, shoot up pizza places thinking that there are secret sex, underground. Like the people are going to do this. Those things are going to happen. But it's better than not having all the information.
Well, just like in China, I mean, there's or North Korea maybe better.
No,
or even
you're
China,
right.
I think. But they have 6 websites that they control.
China is. People think that 5G fries your brain. All right, people think that.
Some people.
And I think that's how disinformation works, right? I think it works we're going to give them something extreme, and we'll let the fringes on both sides run with it. But what's the reality? The reality is, if you have 5G and your system of government is like China, then congratulations, it's not 2020, it's 1984. And I think that's the reality. That's what we don't want. I don't care where you lean politically, where you we want freedom. And the only way for us to have real freedom is every American has to dictate what that means, for good or for bad. And if the majority doesn't agree with you, you have to live with it. And you have to still make I just don't want to be freaked out like the next president. And truth be told, we're in a lot of trouble. Whoever wins November,
I think we're all in agreement with that.
We're in a lot of trouble.
Well, that's the problem. We're picking the least of two evils, lesser of two evils.
And it's hold on. I want to say that. I want to say because one guy.
It didn't just happen.
No.
This has been building and building and building
but I mean, all right. I'll be honest. I'm voting for Biden, but it's not. I'm not saying that because I lean left or right. I'm just saying that because I think one guy. I think one guy is inherently corrupt. I think the other guy is just inherently a vegetable.
Well,
so
I said this a couple podcasts ago.
I think there's
the fact that we're picking from guys we should be picking from. I don't know who to pick because they're both so good. How is this our best option? It doesn't make sense.
Politics
because
has whittled its way down
because it's not politics. It's fear. We're all picking because of fear. I'm not picking.
But it's politics. It's politics that Biden's the Democratic candidate.
Yeah, no. But there's both ways.
Right.
I'm not picking Biden because I agree with all of his policies. I'm picking Biden because I'm afraid of what the other guy is going to do, because from the last 3 years and 3.5 years, he's shown us what he's doing. That's not. No one should pick like that. No one should pick because of fear. And my wife hammers it all the time. She's like, "Hey, you shouldn't pick Biden because." Well, yeah, but at some point, you. And again, I don't want to go into politics because it's.
I was going to say this is a long, and I want to ask you what your take is on what in the last 3.5 years he's done that you are so decisively against, because you know that. But that's going to be a long and windy road. But you know, certainly, your house market is up, stocks are up. I mean, as America, black unemployment was record lows. I mean,
those are right buzzwords, talking points. That's not people. That's
but wait,
not people.
wait,
No,
Biden is not using buzzwords.
I don't listen to Biden. Like, let's be like clear. Like, I'm not.
You ain't black if you don't vote for me. Come on, come on. That's not a buzzword.
No, let's. You're right. I'm not. You're right. I'm not saying you're not. Like, you've hit the nail on the head, and that's the problem, because I would not vote if it wasn't that guy on the other side. I would not vote for that guy. Right? Like, that's the truth. The problem is that guy has put brown kids in cages and ripped them away from their families. He's done that. He's still doing that, and we're not talking about it.
Okay, but
like, hold on.
Where are you getting your information from?
Everywhere. I don't go left. I don't go right. I get it from everywhere.
Okay.
That guy, we've seen people die in a river trying to get here. That guy.
Well, that happens on a regular basis.
That guy talked about immigrants, talked about Mexicans like they were dogs.
But didn't I mean? And again, I have no horse in the race. But didn't Hillary and Obama also say the same thing about deporting kids and they can't bring kids here? We're gonna get rid of them. We're not gonna. You know what I mean?
No, not like.
No.
Look, that man. So much has happened that we forget. And what really, I wasn't a fan of him, but really hit home, is the way he talked about immigrants right before El Paso. Right before those people, that guy went to Walmart, he killed those people. This is that collective, like, white America thing. He's not a good person.
Immigrants. I think you have to specify illegal immigrants, and was MS-13 was the actual.
No.
Okay. The quote that everybody took great umbrage with. He was talking about MS-13.
That man does not care about people. And he was not talking about MS-13. And that's what, like, and again, like, that's, you, like.
People. You're saying any people.
He doesn't give about people. Okay. About people. There's a school shooting in Toms River. You're the president of the United States. And no one likes you there because of the things that you said, right? You're the president, right? And you've said some things, whatever, regardless of what they are. The people there don't like you. And you know on the ground they don't like you. There, right? But the people outside of that, of Toms River, let's say Brick, Lakewood, they love you. Do you go to the hospital in Toms River? Do you take pictures with the baby of a family, of that baby who lost their parents in a Walmart to a shooter who does not like, who did it because he does not like that particular type of people in this town. He doesn't like people from Toms River, so he shot it up. Do you go take a picture?
I understand what you're saying, and I get it, but I think that if he was, you're essentially saying that he's bigoted, racist.
It's beyond that. Like, I'm saying that, but what I'm saying is he doesn't care about people, and it's evident. It is so obvious.
Okay, so let's say rather than being the contrast of that, because I believe information is power, information is key, and that's why we sit in this room, and I've learned so much being down. I would never argue with that. How does Biden care about people? Because he said you ain't black if you don't vote for me, so he cares? He's been in politics for 45 years. He's put more black men in jail than anybody else.
You are so right. I agree with everything you're just saying. Except for this one point.
Okay.
I do not think that Joe Biden does not give a fuck about people. White, black, brown, in between. I don't believe that.
I don't. Talking head who will say almost anything to get a vote.
And I understand that. Do you understand what Trump has said in the 3.5 years to get a vote? Do you understand the people that have died around the things that he said? And the news station that has basically given him a pass, the party has given him a pass on everything.
Oh, listen, I would never, ever say the news has given him a pass.
Fox News?
Oh, Fox News
has given him a pass.
So one out of six. One out of six.
Own. That's 2 out of 6. And then don't don't discount all of the local stations that OWN has gobbled up.
Well, listen, you can't possibly make
I don't-
any
and I don't
argument
wanna-
that the
I don't want to.
news in general has been
I
on
don't-
Trump's.
I
Nobody
know.
could make
no,
that
hold on,
argument.
no. If you talk to CNN, MSNBC, he's a horrible human being. I watch his rallies, every press conference he gave, because again, I want to see for myself.
Let me ask you a simple question.
Okay.
A simple question. Not that you're a simple man. You've talked well over my head. You're a very intelligent guy. Simple question though. Do you think any Americans that vote for Trump or that will vote for Trump, do you think they're racist?
I think if you think do you think Donald Trump is racist? No, hold on. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's bullshit. I'm gonna answer your question, and then you're gonna answer mine.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I don't want to. That's that paradox. I don't want to do that shit. I'm gonna answer your question. I think Donald Trump is racist. I think he does not care about people.
You keep saying people, but you say he's racist. You mean all people, or you just mean people?
I think
of
he's
color?
racist, but I don't think he cares about people in general.
Okay.
And I think, and I don't want to like, I don't want to like, not, it's okay that he's racist because he doesn't care about all people. I don't want to give that. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Why I'm saying I don't think he cares about people after I would say he's racist is because I think white America first has to realize he doesn't care about people. And then they can realize he's racist. Because I think we've seen that they won't do...
It sounds like you're so anti, and that's fine. We're in America. You have every right that you're just voting for the other guy. I don't see how Biden... I think that Biden has said more racist things. If you don't vote... You ain't black if you don't vote for me. I mean, how is that not racist?
It's a fucking impossibility that Biden has said more racist things than Trump.
Okay, give me a quote that Trump has said. I'm not here defending Trump. I'm saying I gave you one that Biden said.
People on both sides are okay in the Charlottesville rally. Mexicans are rapists.
No, I don't think that was the exact quote
That's
about
what
Charlottesville.
he said.
Yeah,
That's what he said, dude.
He
Dude,
said both
listen.
But, I think he says these things, because he knows he has to play to a certain side.
There's a certain... Listen, I understand, and this is...
Lou, what is the exact quote from Charlottesville? That's what we have Lugal for.
Look. I'm gonna. This is so important, right? Because we all have to get along. We all have to figure out how this works.
Right.
And I know, in the heart of hearts, it's not him. He does not. He uses race as a cudgel, and so many people have died because of it. It's not, and that's not me being a bleeding heart liberal. It's me assessing what is happening in the state of this country.
Okay.
He's not the answer. And yes, fucking Joe Biden ain't the answer either. But if you vote for him, you're voting for racism. Even if you don't think you're racism, even if you don't think you have implicit bias, you're voting for this shit. He's taking people's rights away, and he's trying to use the Supreme Court, and he's trying to use his voice to do it. And if it's about being Republican, what do Republicans even stand?
You should know, and you're welcome to ask me anything. You said you had a question, I'll happily answer it. But it's important. You should know. I'm a registered independent. I'm not Republican or Democrat. I believe
we have lost sight of what does it mean to be American, and it's we've categorized it, and it's either if you're a Republican, then you're American, and those Democrats aren't. Those independents are wannabes, and if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, you're not American. I vote my conscience, and that guy.
Not only your conscience, you should vote for your personal diplomatic views on. For example, the Second Amendment is very important to me. Joe Biden is not a Second Amendment guy at all. That's a very important thing to me. And he's not at all. And if he had his way, we would own. Well, you'd be so legislated as to what you could own.
A guy in his manifesto killed a whole bunch of people in El Paso because of what Trump said, and he says it in his manifesto. Like, I don't even want to, like, you can't. My greatest fear. Oh, yeah. My greatest fear, right, in this country, and I'm going to go back to because I like stories. I'm going to go back to the whole story thing. Is I think we're going to see very soon who Donald Trump really is. Like, really is, right? And you've got one opinion about him, and I've got another, and everybody's got something in between. My greatest fear for this country is we're going to have an Indiana Jones moment. Raiders of the Lost Ark. You ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Of course.
We're going to have an Indiana Jones moment. Donald Trump is the Ark of the Covenant. And Indiana and the love interests are tied to a pole, and the Nazis are all around them, and that ark is going to open up, and if you look, you're going to see what it is, and you're going to burn your fucking face off. Like, we're going to see Donald Trump for who he is, and it's not just going to be him, right? Like, that's my fear. Like, because we talked about a little bit upstairs.
Wait, but you say, see who he really is. If there was, like, tangible, provable, factual.
Yes, there is.
I would never vote for that guy.
All right. What his taxes? Why can't we see his taxes? Tell me.
Okay, first of all, I don't disagree with that. I think you should be able to, but that certainly isn't racist.
Where's his money coming to? The guy. Look, the guy went bankrupt 6 times, right?
Right.
We're from here.
But this is conversation. We get provable stuff. I agree.
No, I'm saying it could be proved, right?
Right.
Like, no one in America will loan him money. Where's his money? Do you know where his money is? His money's in Deutsche Bank, right?
Okay.
Who owns Deutsche Bank?
Okay.
All right.
Well, look at what's your take on the Clinton Foundation?
They're the same. That's a class thing. Like, that's like, if you told me right now that Bill Clinton wasn't on the Lolita Express, right? I'd be like, come on, dude. Like I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this.
That was his running mate the last time. That's why I bring it up.
All right,
Hillary Clinton was his running mate.
Right.
I mean, not his running mate, his adversary in
What I'm saying to you is this. Like, if we're talking about, we're going to go that deep. What I'm saying to you is this. We don't know where his money came from, right?
You don't know where his money.
I know his money's tied up in Deutsche Bank. His money he got his loan.
His dad was a real estate investor.
Well, his dad was a real estate investor,
Okay.
right? He went bankrupt.
Okay.
No one. He needed money. No one in the country would loan him money. So who loaned him money to get his golf courses and get all of his properties? Who loaned him money? It's Deutsche Bank.
Okay.
Who loaned Deutsche Bank the money? Who was the co-signee on Deutsche Bank? The Russians were. That's not like you.
So wait, are we tying this into Russian collusion?
This is bigger than Russian collusion.
Okay.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
This is all I'm trying to say. And your fans can say that I'm full of shit.
No. We're middle of the road guys.
So this is what I'm saying.
Our fans are middle of the road.
All I want to know is this: all the terrible things that I think he's done, and why I won't vote for him, and I'm like holding my nose. I'm going to do the whole buzzword. I'm going to hold my nose and vote for the other guy. Yeah. I am, because I think this country needs. I think that Vegetable's got a heart, so I think that he can bring us together. Because that's all. I didn't want Bernie because I think Bernie is a left version of Trump. That's my opinion. So I didn't want him. So I was like, you know what? I'll live with this guy, right? Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to ask.
I'd rather have Bernie than Bud.
Would not. Okay. I think
there's no way the country could substantiate everything he wants us to pay for, but we are
trapped in a range of people, and I think, and while I think that Trump is awful, and I think that he doesn't have a conscience, I think Bernie does have a conscience, and I think Bernie is the polar opposite of him, and I think that is what's bad for this country right now. I need somebody that's going to come here.
2016, when the nominees were coming in, I was Marco Rubio. I wanted Marco Rubio to be our next president. He was the Florida congressman who ran and got he was taken out early. But who were you with in 2016? Were you Hillary?
I'm trying to think. Because I have a Republican pick and a Democrat pick, and I think that year, I don't know if it was Rubio. I think he's.
He's
a
a Republican.
I think
Ben,
he's,
was it?
No, because
Dr. Ben.
I wasn't. He's a fucking idiot. I wasn't.
I actually
I'm sorry.
think he's. I actually think he's quite intellectual.
He's
no?
not. He's. I've had more concussions than him, and I could think him out of a goddamn. He's a goddamn moron. Anyway.
We gotta have you on for more episodes.
I always pick two. I pick one from one side and one from the other, and I kind of figure out from there. I don't try to get pigeonholed into Hillary, and I was really pissed about Hillary because it should have been Bernie Sanders that year. Like that's she
been Bernie this year also.
Yeah,
And
yes,
they pulled out conveniently at the right time to screw him over.
But yes, it should have been Bernie, and there's something to be said about that. Like so I wasn't a fan of Bernie. Like as far as like him, I think his policies are great, but I wasn't a fan of him. Not all of his policies. I take that back. I don't think all of his policies are great.
Yeah.
I don't. The whole free education thing, like the whole free.
Take umbrage with
free,
some of that.
Free college, I don't agree with. I actually think college. I think college should be. I think it should be.
The end question for Bernie with everything is who pays for it.
Well, that's the thing.
Who pays for it?
That's the thing. Like we pay 3/4 of our money goes to the military-industrial complex. So, like, how many like. We need to come to terms with America as a whole that America has been two things. It's been the land of the free, the home of the brave, and we celebrate our freedom and things that we can say we can do. But America's kind of been an imperialistic culture and society. Like we're spread out all over the world. We're no different than the people that we fought for.
So instead of defunding our military here, why don't we stop being the #1 contributor to the UN? Which we've been for the last 50 years.
We're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna get back on track because I was trying to talk about why the Republican now, I'm not cool with. I'm not cool with this Republican Party. I don't recognize anything they stand for, any of their policies. They don't have any. You can't give me one Republican policy other than the Second Amendment, because I know they go back to that. And we don't want to give them.
They defend the two most important ones to me at all costs: the first and the second. They defend them vigorously.
They don't defend the first at all.
I disagree.
I would ask Colin Kaepernick if he feels the same way you do. Colin Kaepernick, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. They don't defend it. That the vice president left Indianapolis in protest because they knelt. Like, if he knelt, you should be like, this is America.
I don't think anybody's saying he can't do it or passing a law that says he can't. He can do it.
They're saying he can't. Laura Ingraham said he shouldn't do it.
Shouldn't.
There's
a difference between shouldn't or couldn't. I think he can't. I have no issue with him doing it.
But you don't see like how that's like. All right, we keep bouncing. All right, let's take Laura Ingraham. Mm-hmm. Laura Ingraham when Kaepernick did it and LeBron went on his whole deal, what did Laura Ingraham say?
Yeah.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
When Drew Brees just got popped because of what he said, what did she say? Do you remember what she said?
I don't. And listen, I'm not here to
and what I'm
defend her words. Those are some poor choice words, no question.
And what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is this. You say that like he's allowed to speak his mind, right? That guy doesn't play football anymore. Like that, and I think that's where you're losing like the whole. You can compartmentalize. Compartmentalize one thing, but you don't see like you're not asked to look in the spectrum, right? Like if racism touches all this stuff, then you have to look at why does a guy kneel, and after he asks a veteran, hey, how should I? What's the proper way to peaceful protest? He asked the guy. Mm-hmm. The guy says, do this. He says, don't do it. Just kneel, right? Yeah. And he does it. And he loses his job. Mm. So
But wait. He wasn't fired, right? He played out his contract, didn't he?
Oh, come on, dude.
I'm asking. Did they?
Come on, dude.
Was he fired?
Dude.
I'm asking.
I don't know. He didn't play anymore after that. You know how many shitty quarterbacks have donned football uniforms that shouldn't have donned it?
he was blackballed and just sidelined.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking.
Because
I
he
don't know.
peacefully
Right, but
protested.
I don't follow football, so I'm asking. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like dude,
Okay.
like that's like that is the crux of like what we're talking about. Like you have to like when I look at these issues, I look at Donald Trump. I don't look at
But
Donald
you're going
Trump.
to stand
I
up
look
for
at him as a
Colin
spectrum.
Kaepernick's right to do that, right? That is his right to do that.
Yes.
Absolutely. I agree all day long. You can't argue that it is other people's, if we're talking about the First Amendment, right to have a disagreement, especially veterans.
They can have a disagreement. Should they fire him? And then the veteran didn't have a disagreement.
But again,
if you ask,
my question was, did he get fired? You're just saying he didn't play.
No, it's another.
come on,
I mean,
okay, and this is
kinda
the other problem with this country, and this is why
I'm asking a question.
No, I know, I understand, and this is the problem. Like this is the problem with our country is that because there's too much information, and because we're constantly influx with information. Like we talk about the biggest problem is it's fucking semantics.
Right. I agree.
He got blackballed. Is that saying being fired? Fuck yeah, he got fired, dude. Like he knelt because there was police brutality against minorities, and they didn't play. He couldn't play anywhere. He could not play anywhere.
Listen, I don't follow football.
It's
so
not about following football.
I don't know.
What I'm saying is like there's a different code for people with different skin colors and religions and sexual orientations than are for people who aren't, and that's what's got to go. And it doesn't. And when you want to talk about one thing, we are a spectrum of people, so we can't pigeonhole capitalism. We can't pigeonhole society and politics. And the problem with all of us right now is that we all have different. Like we're trying to talk about one thing, but we're talking about everything. And if you want to talk about one thing, then we've got to talk about everything first.
Sure. That's what we're here for. Conversation.
You're right.
But to fight systemic racism, to fight racism, we need a starting point. I don't know. I'm asking where it begins. If he was fired, listen, I'm with him. I didn't.
But he was. I mean,
he was fired.
He wasn't formally fired, but he's fired.
He was blackballed.
Okay, so the
because called
right.
blackballed.
So how do we? Okay, so back up. Hold up. So how do we fight that? Wait. Let me finish. Is the entire NFL racist? Is the commissioner racist? Where everybody's racist? I mean, where? How do we fight it?
Great questions.
You gotta
no.
That has to be an answerable question to fight it.
But here, it's got to be this. It's got to be. You have to be willing to talk about everything.
I am.
No, you. I think you are.
Okay.
And it's where does it really?
If you can't give me a point to help to fight it, then I can't help to fight it.
I can.
You just tell me it's systemic, which is sort of invisible.
No, it's not invisible.
In my
it's
house,
not invisible.
in my house,
it's not invisible. It's not
is.
invisible.
Okay.
It's not invisible. We saw it in Minneapolis. This shit's not invisible.
Right.
Okay.
And not one person agreed with what
happened.
There.
I know.
We all think that guy should get the death penalty.
But it's not. He shouldn't get the death penalty. He should be in jail for the rest of his life.
Whatever.
Because he did it.
Either way, doesn't matter to me.
He shouldn't die.
Okay.
Like. The
Personally,
problem.
I don't. Either way.
The problem is this, and this is to me the real answer. Like, how do you fix all this shit? You have to go one step above not burning the whole fucking thing down, because burning the whole thing down is anarchy, right? Like that's anarchy, and no one wants that. We all think we want that, but we don't want that. But we all want order. Hold on. We all want like order. Like we just want order, but we don't want totalitarian. We don't want what am I trying to say?
Totalitarianism.
God, I'm such a goddamn football player. Yeah, we don't want that either, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want anarchy, and we don't want
totalitarian.
Yes.
I don't know if I said it right, but I got it out.
So what is it? And I think it's one step above burning it all down.
What do you mean above burning it all down?
Because if you burn it all down, that's anarchy.
Right.
If we burn this whole thing
you mean
down.
below?
No, I don't want below.
Above.
I want it above. You don't want to go below, because below would be
burning it down.
That would be hell.
We don't want to.
Basically, we don't want hell, right?
Right.
We don't want hell. We want the utopia. We don't.
Okay.
We not everybody believes in heaven, so we're not gonna say heaven. We want the utopia.
Okay.
We don't. But the utopia means it's order. It's got to be some type of system of things, and we got to make sure that the system is
Of all the countries in the world, of all of them combined, is there a better one for law and order than the United States?
there's not a good one.
Okay.
There's not.
But is
it's
there
not
a better one that you can think of? Because you can mimic systems, right?
You can mimic systems, but you can't mimic. Well, you can now. That's our problem. So I'll get into that too. We'll go down a real rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to mimic people,
Never.
but we do.
Okay.
Ask PsyOps and Cambridge Analytica. Like they're mimicking people. Like
Okay.
most of the, I truly think a quarter of the people that you talk to online aren't people. I think they're fucking cell phones somewhere in a bot factory.
yeah.
Like not. And I would have said overseas 2 years ago. I got a feeling they're bot factories right here in this country, right? And I got it. And it's got. And I don't want to say this. God is gonna. Please don't shoot me.
Wait, God's not going to do nothing.
No, yeah, on both sides. There are bot systems on both sides.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one side.
But don't you feel like that's what they want? They want us at each other's throat. I mean,
I'm
you
saying
know?
there's got to be a system that comes from the middle. Like we got to but this system right now. And I'm talking when I say systems, I mean like
if there's a system that's got to come from the middle, your choice and our choice. No, I should say his choice. Are who the way we feel, how we would vote today is not in the middle. And I agree with you. We need to be in the middle. So how do we get in the middle?
Because we gotta. This is the hard part, but we can do it. We have the technology to do it. It's got to be everyone. It's got to be everyone. It's got to be the Indian family in Avenel who's lived here, who's got second generation kids here, right, in Colonia and Avenel. It's got to be the Polish family that lives in Kearney that's been here since the beginning, right? It's got to be the Latino family in Union, the Portuguese family in New York. It's got to be the Italian.
Everybody has to feel inclusive.
It's got to be Italian.
Right,
Like we gotta
Italian
like
family in Tom's River.
Italian family in Tom's River. Like it's got to be all of us. That's got to figure it out. Like and we have the smarts and the technology to do it, to build a system.
So Frankie suggested before that maybe in the world we live in, we don't actually need a president anymore. Is that sort of where you're going? Like the hierarchy, the top chain, it is what a democratic system is.
I was listening to this Weinstein guy, and he had a pretty good thing. He says you need two people, one left of center, or center or left, and center right.
No, it's not about two people.
No,
because this gets back to the incompleteness theorem. This goes back to that, because here's what you got to do. You have to have a president. You've got to have someone who's got the wherewithal to deal with all the information and know when he speaks to the world that he's going to tell them something, to the country and the world. He's going to tell them something, whatever the crisis is, that's going to make things a little bit better than they already are, right? Like that's that's not going to come. That's not going to come from. You could have all the data that comes in the world, right? That ain't going to come from the data, because sometimes you got to say some shit, and you got to stop a riot. You got to stop someone from fucking drinking bleach because they're afraid to get sick. You got to stop things, and that's not going to come
do you think we've had that
from this guy?
No.
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah, throughout the years.
Bush 9/11.
Well, no, you're talking about a specific period of time. Not
no, I'm talking about like
talking about
when,
an entire
an incident.
Shit is always going to go down. Like shit in this country is always in the world.
In any
always
country.
going to go down.
In any
right?
country, yeah.
And the guy who we put in charge is going to get military advice. He's going to get economic advice. He's going to get education advice. He's going to get information from all the people he needs to, so that he can go in front of the cameras, in front of the world, and say, "This is what I got. I'm giving it to you. This is what I think you got to do." And then not the guy, the girl, whoever, right? Mm-hmm. And she has got to be able to say to the person who's making minimum wage, who's trying to figure out how to pay the rent, feed their kid, keep their kid out of trouble, all that shit. That person's got to say whatever he's got to say, and the other person on the side can be like, "All right, I can do this another day. I can figure this shit out another day." Like,
so we need like a
and it ain't him. It ain't the guy there now. And I get that you're like, whoa, it ain't the guy.
You
it
already
ain't
know
the
what I'm
guy.
thinking.
I get it, and I get it.
I love your
but-
utopian theory.
No, but
and I
no,
don't
it's not.
disagree
It's
with
not a
it.
utopia. Like the utopia is like,
But it
my
ain't-
utopia is a marriage between data and your gut. That's my utopia, and we don't have the right data because we don't let everybody shoot from the gut. Like you I got this thing this motto I live by, right? And I've been I know you'll attest to this. Like I've hit people so hard that I've watched them piss themselves, right? And and there's a feeling that you get from that, right? And I've been hit so hard that I don't remember the game. I don't remember what happened. And I told myself long before I was ever on TV playing football, I told myself, I don't give a shit what happens to me when I go to hit. What is in my heart the last 3 steps I make? That's all I fucking cared about. And the moment I felt like that thing wasn't in my heart, it wasn't when I went to go hit it, then I need to stop. That's when it was time to stop.
We've had this conversation about his career, when to stop.
And it's the last 3 steps. I always call it the last 3 steps to darkness. That was because I don't know what's going to happen after the 3rd step.
Right.
It's either going to be me or you, but what's in my heart, those last 3 steps. And if I can't, and I feel like I don't have it, then that's it. There's no, and we don't have a leader who speaks in those last 3 steps. We don't have someone that's because if I believe in you, I don't give a fuck what you say. Let's do it.
Now let's not go towards the future with who's our choices now. Let's back up. If you had Clinton in there, who was the only other candidate, do you think that was the person that would have spoke with the truth and the
She would have spoke with truth, but it wouldn't have been. She wouldn't have spoke with the moxie that would she wouldn't have spoke with I can do this another day. Look, all right, come on. When Trump said drink the light in your body, drink disinfectant, tell me, come on, you got to tell me you weren't
Wait a minute, drink? You talking about the hydroxy whatever?
I'm talking about the bleach. I'm not even talking about the shit that'll kill you if you take it. I'm talking about the bleach. When he was what if you drink people started drinking
for coronavirus?
Yeah.
But I think right. I think we agree as 3-4 men sitting in a room that words are important. You have to actually. He never said drink the shit. What is his quote? Pull it up. He didn't say drink the shit. He said there. I thought he said there is some data.
Right?
He said there's. He said.
And one woman's husband did it, and she blamed him for it.
He said.
What is the exact quote, Lou?
He said, "What if
this is where
if there's a
comes
way
in.
we can put light in the body?"
I heard this. Stuff.
And what
and I heard this about the light, and it actually is kind of true.
And
I think he gets like you said, he gets people briefing him on shit all the time, and I think he just spews what they say. And
I thought you were talking about. So he's talking about the hydroxychloroquine or whatever
he's
it's called, right?
taking that.
But the dude that died from it literally was drinking fishbowl cleaner. He's a fucking idiot. The guy's a fucking idiot. He didn't.
The president should not put people in a position to drink disinfectant.
Correct, but the quote that he said is important too. I don't believe that he said drink this shit.
The quote, inject it. He didn't say he's injected.
Okay, Lou, what is the quote?
Well, the point I'm trying to make is this: are you going to step into darkness with Donald Trump's last 3 words?
I don't think I'd step into darkness with anybody's last 3 words.
That's not see. Yeah, yes, you would.
I would.
Yeah, you would.
I think
your kid said, "Daddy, he hurt me." You're going head first.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm saying
I see what you're saying.
If the leader of the free nation,
you're talking about inciting something, and you're talking 2 different things here. Yeah, I'm
not.
If my kid told me,
the leader of our free nation has the voice of the people. He's supposed to speak for the people. So when he speaks, it's for all of us. And that man does not speak for all of us, right? He just doesn't. What I'm saying is, I want my leader to tell me the truth, to tell me.
You say speaks for all of us. I don't know that there's any candidate ever in the history of, I know there isn't, that has ever spoken for all of us.
He speaks for less than half of us. He does not speak, like he does not, like, and I don't want to make this a Trump Obama thing. But what I'm saying is, after 9/11 happened, if Bush was like, and I wasn't a fan of George Bush Jr. But after 9/11, right? If he was like, I need all the black people in America to enlist so we can go over and fight, like I would have went. I would have went. Because when he talked, you knew two things. You knew he gave a shit, regardless of what you thought of him. You knew he gave a shit then, and you know he wanted better for the country, and you knew he didn't give a shit what color you were. So you go, right? And what I'm saying is, and I didn't agree with his politics. I didn't agree with his cabinet. I didn't agree with a lot of things he said. But a crisis happened. He reminded us that we're still America. And so America, all of us, religion, all of us, we went, right? We went.
It's a very unique situation, though.
It's not unique. We're dealing with a crisis. 120 fucking thousand people have died in 3 months. They've died in 3 months in this country.
Wait a minute, 120? We'll say that again?
120.
Coronavirus.
We are in a crisis right now. There was a goddamn Nazi rally 3 years ago in our country, near the cap, like not far from like our world. Like we have been in a crisis for 3.5 years, and it's been shit. And this guy has not said one goddamn thing to make me feel like I should be a better American because the leader of this country says so. He does not.
But that is how I understand what you're saying completely. But democracy works that way. If more people feel the way you do, right, they wouldn't vote for. He's going to lose. He's going to lose.
You tell me.
And trust me in saying this. You've got the entire news network on your side.
It's not the news network. It's not just. It's people, dude. It's not. It's people. The things that he says, and it's not just him. It's his party. The things that they say. Yo, things need to change.
I agree with
and
that.
And it's not gonna look good from your vantage point. It is not. And I get it. I get it. Because the one thing that I understand is that the same privileges that you've been afforded because of your skin color, I've been afforded because of the way I've played a sport, and wouldn't have been afforded it if not. I understand where you're coming from, and it sounds, and the way I say that, and it sounds so fucked up, and I understand that. It's hard to like. I know,
because I can't identify it. You
I
can't
know.
give me an identifiable thing.
I
grew up piss poor. I grew up in a $10,000 house in a little shitty town in Maine.
I've given you a bunch of them, and it's hard. Like I've given you a bunch of them, and it's
not
hard.
a tangible. Like something I can fight. What can I?
I just think we don't know what it's like to be black.
I agree.
I mean,
I would concur with that.
They live different. They grew up different.
I would concur with that hands down.
And
I concur.
And when I tell you what it's like,
as a white dude, how do I fight that?
When I tell you what it's like, and I tell you what's wrong, and I tell you how to fix it, you have to believe what I'm saying and help me fix it. And it's going to feel awkward because it's going to feel awkward because there's going to be hairs on your skin, and there's going to be parts of your being that's going to tell you that this is not cool.
But I feel like this is what I feel like, Frankie, and you weigh in on this too. I feel like you're removing my ability to pull in all information. You're saying you're a fucking idiot. Believe what I'm saying.
I'm not saying you're a fucking idiot. I'm not, because look.
You're saying you said your exact words were, you have to believe what I'm saying. I'm hearing what you're saying, and that's why you're here.
If you don't believe what I'm saying, then you can't fix what's wrong. That's why you have to believe. Like, you can't just do it arbitrarily, because if you do it arbitrarily, you're not going to fix what's wrong, because you're not going to understand. Bro, like, I know that we've all felt the same things. Love, hate, when a girl's rejected us. As men sitting here, when our kids are upset, when we're the reason why our kids are upset, when our wives are upset, when we're the reasons why they're upset, all of us have felt the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm asking you is, when you have empathy about what is happening to people of color, and it ain't just black, it's yellow, it's brown. Every time that asshole, all right, it's a little bit too much. I've had too much whiskey. Every time that guy says it's the Kung Fu virus, or that this is China, like every time he says that, like that's racist. And if you don't think it's racist, you're not listening. You're not looking. You're not seeing what is happening.
Racist or xenophobic?
It's racist.
Same thing, right?
It's
Sort of the same
it's
thing,
not
I guess,
xenophobic is just straight hate. This is racist because he's trying to blame this on a subsection of this country who, and every time he says something,
Wait, a subsect of this country?
Asian Americans in this country. Every time he says something that's racist, that it's the Chinese virus, that it's the Kung flu. Every time he says something, a subsection of this country that are Asian or Asian American or Asian descendants, or have someone that's Asian in their family, feels the brunt of those words, because some idiot who's racist, who doesn't know any better, who's ignorant, goes out and places that anger, that misplaced anger and that rage on that person. His words matter. As dumb as they are, as hateful as they are, as racist as they matter. And I get, and we're going to go back to it, that the other guy has said some dumb, racist, hateful stuff too. And I get it.
I'm not even going to go down that road with you. I'm trying to listen.
The other guy is not going to plunge this country in a pit of hell. And that's the problem.
Okay. Your perspective that he isn't. From your point of view, maybe other people, I'm not saying me, but maybe other people feel that he is. And isn't that how the First Amendment works? Isn't that how democracy works? Isn't that how,
so many people have died from the inaction or the action of the current president. And you can say...
Many people would make that argument about Hillary Clinton.
That's bullshit. When he talked about Mexicans the way he did, and that man shot up that El Paso Walmart, that was because of him.
Okay.
That was because of him.
What's your take on Benghazi?
What is my take on... Oh, fuck. We can talk... All right. You want to talk about Benghazi? Oh, this goes back to my point. I'm sorry. I want to go back to this whole point. Some conservative listeners. This is my whole point. We can go Benghazi. We can talk about Bill Clinton and all the other stuff he's done. There's just one thing I want you to do. This is it. Donald Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, we're gonna like you concede that?
Yeah, I don't know what your definition of the word friend is.
And they've taken like did Jeffrey Epstein know Bill Clinton? Did he know what's the nerd Microsoft CEO?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. So was he on there? Like, yeah, all right. Donald Trump had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know where his taxes are. We don't know where his money is. We know Jeffrey Epstein was sex trafficking all over this country. And all I want you to do is this. We don't see where this guy's money comes from, right? Mm-hmm. And we know it's in Deutsche Bank. And I'm saying, in my researched opinion, Russia, the bank in Russia, and I think it's OBT or CBTB, the bank in Russia is the co-signee on his loans from Deutsche Bank. And that's why we can't see his taxes. That's why he's freaking out. He doesn't want us to see him. If Donald Trump, God, I'm gonna not make it home tonight. If Donald Trump is friends with a sex trafficker during the time where Donald Trump owned a beauty pageant that spanned across the world, I'm not saying that they were in league. I'm not saying that Donald Trump's beauty pageant is a front for Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking. I'm just saying.
You're just strongly implying.
I'm just saying we owe it to ourselves as Americans to figure out what their relationship is, because I don't care what color you are or what religion you are. We all have children, and I don't care. The next president could be the blackest or femalist. If you've been in league with a sex trafficker,
So listen.
We
to this.
need to kill you. There's death penalty.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. We should find out.
And I don't disagree with you at all. But I think that's why facts are so important, right? I'm a firm believer in facts and data and stats, and I'm
okay.
So I wouldn't disagree with anything
you
you
give
said.
me your sources, and I'll run through your
I'm
facts.
not pulling up sources. I just want your take. Listen, we're just three guys. In a
I need to
room
know, like,
having
look,
a
but that's what information is now. Like, you have to understand, because
I just want to pull something up for you, and I'm just curious your take on it, because it just struck me as so outlandishly crazy. Here's a picture of Oprah Winfrey and a guy, right? It says Oprah Winfrey and her BFF, which obviously BFF is that's implying something that is not here. It's just a picture. All I'm seeing is a picture. But if this is who it says it is, I'm curious on your take. The man in this photo is John of God. Oprah promoted him as a miracle healer. This man kept women chained to impregnate so he could sell the babies for organ and adrenochrome harvesting, for sex trafficking, for satanic sacrifice, and who knows what else he was arrested for in December of 2018. Did you hear about it? Nope, because the mainstream media never showed it. No, why? Now listen, I'm totally on board with everything you said about, if Trump is but like, I can't believe that as much as I can't many other things. Like, do you believe that? Where does this shit come
hold
from?
on.
And why is nobody ever charged?
Hold on. Listen. I don't know if that's true. I'll do the research.
Okay.
I understand that. But what I'm saying, I've done research. We don't know what Trump's taxes are. Okay. If you listen to the New York Times, he's been not paying his taxes for years. If you listen to the New York Times, and you might not read the New York Times, you might not believe it. Fine. Okay. He will not show us his taxes, right? Steve Mnuchin will not release them to the committee so we can see his taxes. All right. The bank that underwrites his loans has been raided at least twice in the last 2 years. At least, like, guaranteed at least twice in the last 2 years, right? Okay. God, I keep touching this thing. Right? Like, I'm not saying, look, if I'm wrong about Donald Trump,
But what is the connection you're trying to make? That he's attached to Russia?
What I'm trying to not just that he's attached to Russia, but he's attached to Epstein. Okay. I want to know, the guy ran Miss Universe.
Well, but according to this conspiracy of the Epstein, it's like a lot of people are connected. And a lot of people in the higher ups are connected.
And they should all burn.
Both sides.
They should all burn. They're on both sides.
I
Bill
agree.
Clinton's been on that shit. Like I'm saying, like, they should all burn. Like, they should all go. Yeah. I'm not saying at all that he's independent, because if the dominoes fall, like, what I'm saying is, if that domino falls,
why do the dominoes never fall on both sides? On the left and the right. It
because
seems
of
like
class.
These most
because
heinous.
of the
Well,
rich.
these people just get away with
capitalism
it.
is blind
The
because it's on
prince-
both sides.
Prince Andrew's gonna get away. Like,
right.
And that's the point. Like, I understand what you're saying, and what I'm telling you is, what I'm saying is.
But that's why I'm saying capitalism is blind, because on the left there's Bill Clinton who's on the left
blind.
and who is
capitalism is not blind.
Okay.
It's not. Dude, if capitalism was blind, then Black Wall Street wouldn't have happened. Like Tulsa, the Juneteenth wouldn't have happened. Rosewood wouldn't have happened.
What is the connection with capitalism with like Juneteenth?
Black Wall Street was because that's
Tulsa, right?
It was Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I understand that.
And I'm saying is, like, those are people of color who were thriving. They created their own system of economics on Wall Street, and they basically got bombed. It was the first time bombs hit this country. Because why? Because they were making a lot of money, or because they were black and making a lot of money? And that's again, and I'm going to go back to this point. You're taught, we are, not just you. We're taught to compartmentalize issues and not see the whole thing.
I think I'm a pretty middle of the road guy.
I understand that, and I do think that some of the things you say are middle of the road, but I think you wanna. I think you personally, just from what I'm, and it's not. I think you want to leave race out of all the elements of ours. If we had like
No,
it's
not at all.
it's not a no. Listen, hold on.
It's just I need to
it's not,
be
it's
able
not,
to fight it
it's
by
not a racist.
identifying it.
It's
yeah.
not a racist thing.
Right.
It's not, I'm not saying you're not racist. I'm not saying you're racist. What I'm saying is
a lot of people in the world today, in America today, white people feel the need to virtue signal to prove that they're not racist. I feel no need to do that whatsoever. I know who I am.
And I understand that. But the thing of it is, and this is the problem, and this is the crux, this is the problem that we've had in this country, because we have not dealt with it. Mm-hmm. You feel like if I'm just a good person and I get in these moments where
not these moments. I live it every day.
No, you don't live it every day because you don't.
Wait. So define these moments. What do you mean these moments?
There are. Listen, and it's not. I'm not. There are moments in your life where you have experienced, or you've seen, or you've been a product of implicit bias.
Okay.
And you don't see it. You don't.
Right.
And what I'm saying
right.
is.
I don't.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like.
How do I see it? How do I identify it?
Going to tell you.
Okay.
And then it's up to you at that point to believe what I'm saying.
Okay.
And if you don't, that's the crux. That's the problem. And and it's not a racism. Like we're like you're not. There's not a race. I don't want to say there's not a racist bone in your body, dude. It's not about race. It's not about you thinking it's racism. What I'm telling you is this system, all of it, from mainstream media to politics to Hollywood to education to economics to the environment, it's structured based on race and class, and that goes like this. Mm-hmm. And you can't talk about this finger that's in this web without talking about this one. And when you want to talk about, if you want to talk about this finger, we've got to talk about the one thing that bleeds in all of them, and it's race. And you've got to, like, you're going to have to see it, and it's going to look ugly. And you're going to be like, no, fuck this. I'm not talking. No. But it's the only way this moves forward. Because
I guess what I mean by capitalism is blind, maybe I'm giving an all-encompassing statement that isn't true, is if there was a business out there in today's day and age that said, no blacks on the door or something to that, it would go out of business in short order because people would not go. I believe it. Then why don't any say it?
What are you talking about? They don't. That's the thing, that they do say it. Like there's no.
I'm 45
no
years old. I've never
way
seen
Tucker Carlson should still be on TV. I'm slurring, but I'm still lucid. I'm coherent. There's no way. But what I'm saying, like, here's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way he should be on TV. There's no way. He says racist stuff in Laura Ingraham all the time. And you know what? I'm not just saying that. I watch it because I need to see it. So I watch it, right? And it hurts listening to them. But they're advertised by people because people watch that stuff and they go, oh, they're not racist. They're fucking racist. Fox News says racist shit, and we're like, we gotta get rid of Fox News. Like, I could say, like, we need to get rid of Fox News, and you could be like, oh no, free speech, but it's bigger than that because Fox News.
Wait. Define. Okay, I'm not going to argue with your take on racism, but define free speech and what goes and what doesn't go. You're saying it has to be taken off the air.
No, you're right. I get what you're saying.
I want your definition of free speech. What is it?
Because it's not about definition. I get what you're saying. It's like they should be allowed to say what they want to say, and we should be allowed to broadcast it and see it and be.
But isn't if they're saying it and people see it, people are gonna see, like you're saying, if they are racist. Isn't like, I don't know if this is true. You probably would know. But like in Germany, when Hitler was coming to power, he wrote Mein Kampf. They outlawed Mein Kampf in Germany.
Yeah.
Right, but we had it here.
I've read it.
We knew what a fucking maniac he was.
People are still reading it.
If those people in Germany got to read it, they would have never let him get the power he was in.
That's the risk. We don't want that shit circulating around, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't want to be Fahrenheit 451. That's the risk, and I get it, and you're right. And as long as you
the
say,
First Amendment is extremely important to me.
But
that's
it's
why I said, what is your definition?
But it can't be. But it can't be. The First Amendment is important, but it can't be goddamn. I'm trying to.
I think you should have every right to come down. If you came down here and sat on that couch and called me every name in the book, You have the right
Come
to do
on.
it.
And you have the
I do,
right to
every
kick.
week.
You have the,
to
yeah,
kick.
he does it
If
every
I
week.
say something that hurt, like you have,
No,
dude,
I think you have every right to do it.
But
I have the right to tune you out and
at
say,
what-
listen, it's just words.
you have the right. You have the right to tune me out, right? You have the right, and the collective of white America has been tuning us out.
I'm not
And
tuning
no,
you
no,
out.
but not you. I'm the collective.
Okay.
Like the Fox News,
Okay.
white America has tuned us out. What has the cost been of tuning us out? El Paso, Dayton, Charlottesville, the border, Corona.
Now, let's,
Like,
because
like-
we can only, we're simpletons down here. We can only address one issue at a time. I can. I'm not that bright, admittedly. You're much more intelligent than me.
No,
I have
no, it's not intelligent.
truly.
No,
we were talking
it's-
upstairs. You defined yourself pretty
No,
quickly to me.
it's-
But let's talk about one issue at a time. You said the border. What do you think we should be a country without borders?
I don't care if we have borders or not.
Well, then we're not a country. Every
That's
country
bullshit.
has borders.
That's bullshit. That we're
Okay.
not a country because we have.
Name country without borders. Name one. There isn't one.
There's open borders or just borders.
Borders protected as well as they can protect them. There's a lot of countries that can't afford to protect them. But nobody's really coming over those borders either.
These four walls, these four lines,
Mm-hmm.
it's a border. It's a border between this piece of the paper and that piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it means much. To me, it's about as much as the border on the goddamn Rio Grande. What I care about is that when I see a person drown, he's
Mm-hmm.
dead, with his daughter on his back because they wanted to get over here, I don't care about the fucking border. I don't care about what it means. Like, I don't care about any of that.
But wait,
why?
you're
Hold
blaming
on.
the
Hold
border
on.
guards for
Hold
killing
on.
those people?
What I'm saying? No, what I'm saying is there has to be more things important than ideas, than systems, and the one thing that's more important than all those things are people. And we have to draw the line to where people, or if you think about people too much, you destroy a system. If you think about the system too much, you destroy the people. And all I'm saying is, we in this country have forgot about people. All we care about is words and systems and buzzwords. We care about the economy. We care about our politics. We care about fucking words and categories and identifications. We don't care about people. And the collective of the white America.
saying we. We
The
can
white,
only- we
white
can-
America. And then it's not. And look, I'm sorry. Look, I don't want to say white America because it's not just white America. And I know.
You,
and no,
you
'cause
can,
just-
you
but-
maybe can define everybody else, but
I'm not.
it's not
but it's
doesn't define
no,
me.
because I'm telling you, like, people are dying because this human being and the ilk around
Wait,
him.
wait. I'm not defending
the
Trump.
pres-
But you're saying nobody's ever died coming across the border before
Bullshit.
Trump?
No.
Before
People.
Trump?
No, people have
Millions
died.
of people
Listen. You guys talk about Benghazi, and Benghazi's bullshit. If you would have said to me, yo, your boy Obama, he's droned the fuck out of innocent people, I would have been like, yeah, there should be a hearing on that. Because there should.
There's been
because
tons of atrocities.
No, there has not. Well, no one knows. Benghazi. Like her emails, your boy's emails. He was.
Wait.
Like,
So
I'm just saying,
How
like-
do you say your boy? He's not my boy. We're living in a democracy where you have the ability to vote for, and the election isn't here. I could totally be a Biden guy. The election's not here yet. I'm an independent. I'm open-minded. But you say your boy, and that is implicit of bias.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, you're right. I don't know if you want to vote for him or not. I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, we have to find a way to get rid of the things in our country.
We have to find a way to get rid of hate.
You're not seeing it. Like, we have made hate tangible. And not just in George Floyd. We've made hate in how we educate our kids.
History in every divide in every country has ebbed and flowed with hate. It has in every divide, and it has.
But
in every country on the planet, there's an ebb and flow of hate.
There's a difference between the ebb and flow and hate in every country on the planet, and the difference is this: is that the information about the ebb and flow and the history of that hate has always come from at least one singular source. like in the beginning when we really talk about media and it's infecting this country, right? We got our news from what? In the beginning, ABC.
We've discussed it, yeah.
No, NBC. Like there were 3 sources. So you could talk about hate all you want, but it got funneled in 3 sources. So at some point, there were 3 sources where you're getting your news from. We don't get our news from 3 sources anymore. We get news from every source.
Right.
And we've got to figure out, as a country, not news. And I say news, I mean information. Like what's right and what's wrong, how we deal with shit. It can't be just one source of information. We're in real talk, we're only getting our information, internet, whatever, from
Could not agree with you more.
from like 5 or 6 different companies
Right,
that
right.
are monopolies, and
Right.
it's
Not only that, depending on what your Google searches are and what you
I don't even
you
use
get,
Google
you get
search.
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
You get inundated with like-minded. You're
I know.
You're indoctrinated through your phone.
all I'm saying is, I've just
I gotta like, and you're talking like America, right? Is the problem, right? That's the issue, right?
yeah.
And to think of how young of a country we are compared to
Yeah.
the world,
Right.
Like these problems existed throughout the world, or no, or is this only an American problem?
Yeah, it's not. No, it's not an American problem. The issue.
Pyramids were
the
built
issue-
by slaves.
The pyramids. There's a lot of argument what the pyramids were built by, and if you want
Well,
to say
they
that,
might be built by aliens, right?
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
true,
like. I'm already. Yeah.
Well, the Coliseum.
My
too.
point
Like, they say
was-
Coliseum was built.
I'm
by,
not.
by,
Listen,
by,
horrendous things have happened, and I believe that conversation is how you talk about those things, and and it is our history, but it has also happened elsewhere. You know, I mean,
Yes, but it's not. This is a different time than
Okay.
else. Like we before the internet, not before social media is what I'm talking about. History happened, and it's all been forgotten. And someone wrote about it that saw it. Someone did some research.
but why do you say it's all been forgotten?
Because we don't know our history. We look.
We
You can't.
do, but is it accurate history?
It's no. Like we don't know. We don't know our history.
Right.
Like
We know a history.
I think humanity, I think our purpose, like if you ask me like why are humans on this earth? If you follow my weird logic, I think symbols and graphics are just forms of sentient information, and information itself is alive. Ones, zeros, like all this stuff is just, it's alive, right? It's real, and what makes it real are people and systems, right? Information in history is no more coherent than the people who believe it in the present moment. So what happened, if there wasn't an internet and there wasn't someone saying like, oh, this happened or this, we wouldn't know what happened 2 years ago.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
and so history is
It's constantly rewriting itself.
it doesn't have to.
Right.
And it's not, and the problem that we're having, it's not going to now, because we have the internet and people record stuff, and everybody has the ability to record a piece of history. You know, so it's not going to like just go away. Like things are going to, you can make deep fakes. You can say, oh, this happened, or you can like, so because history is more, it's more like digitally like concrete. It's more tangible. Like you can see it, like you can see what happened and go, oh yeah, that guy leaned on his neck. He killed him. 10 years from now, someone's going to make a deep fake, and it won't be Derek Chauvin. It'll be Donald Trump. And everybody 10 years from now will be like, oh, Donald Trump killed the George Floyd. And that's what we're in between. We're in between like the most accurate we can possibly be to the most silly we can possibly be.
Yeah.
And
But it's the argument could be made that it was happened before technology ever exists. Christopher Columbus, again, I keep bringing him up. I mean, there was no technology when he, came here, and books were written about him and history books. There was no, but that has changed. That has changed.
And what I'm
that
saying
was
is
before technology.
history is what I'm saying. History is God.
Yeah.
We have enough technology to like. You want to stop all the bullshit that's going on? Like, really want to stop all the bullshit that's going on right now?
It's so convoluted. I don't know
January
how.
1st, 2021, right? You tell the whole world, hey, everybody, every human on the planet, we're going to do a do-over. Don't worry. Everything that happened before January 1st, 2021, we're just screw it. We're gonna go from right here. We're gonna flush
Control Delete.
All Control Delete. So all the money that exists in this world, all the currency, in all of its forms, we're gonna every man, woman, and child, we're gonna just equal it out. Everybody, we're gonna Obama. Everybody gets a free phone. Everything just we flush the whole system, and then we start the system over. Let's see how the system works.
Right, but I think it has to be simpler times. You can't start
No,
the system
bullshit.
over.
There's not going to be any more simpler times.
Technology, right? So what we've learned over centuries and centuries, like you can just hit the fast forward button if it's already predisposed information, and boom, we go right back in a very short amount of time. You literally have to go back to simpler times to do the reset.
No, we don't.
You don't.
I'm saying the history books, the data, all of it. We just
blank slate.
Blank it.
Okay.
And we start and we go January 21st, 2021 is really
year one.
Year zero, like, and then go, okay.
That's interesting.
But in order, like, and we just start over. And then, like, you like, how many people are living, like, do you know how many houses that are fucking on this planet and there's homeless people? We could put every homeless person in the goddamn, like, just cut the bullshit. All right, look, we're running out of water, we're running out of all this stuff, like, just flush it. We got to flush all of it.
I agree with you. I do, and I love
and
it.
I'm not saying.
But do you believe?
Has it ever been that way?
Do you believe?
No.
Never. Right?
Never. But do you believe life choices control outcome? You said homeless people, right?
But then my question to you would be like, yes, life choices be the control of the outcome, but what is this? What choices is this person given? Like, what are you giving? Like,
that would be an individual basis.
No, it's not. Like,
you can't.
People of privilege in this country are given this choice, and people who have not privilege in this country.
There's a lot of white homeless people.
Hold on,
lot.
I know, but people of privilege. We're talking class that the people who don't have privilege are given this choice. Brother, I grew up like you did. I grew up in South Philadelphia. I did not eat every day. I fought every day I went to school. I know where you're coming from, and I get what you're saying. Is that we like?
Well, I'm just a believer in capitalism, and the reason it works,
I don't believe capitalism doesn't work. It does not work because there are people who can't afford. People are getting coronavirus and dying because they can't afford health care.
So you're saying if right, and I agree with you on some things, just not everything. You mentioned homeless people. Now, yes, I don't think that anybody should be homeless on the street. Nobody. I don't believe that. I do not. I don't think there's many people that give homeless people more money than I do. But I do believe that life choices play a part in everything. And there are unforeseen circumstances that can happen to anybody. It can happen to you, can happen to me. But more often than not, it is poor life choices that have gotten them there. And some of them...
Shit.
Okay. All right. So speak on it.
Some of them are mentally ill.
That's what I was.
Some of them.
Okay.
That's not a life.
But you didn't even let me get to that point. You didn't even let me finish. I was going to bring up mental illness.
But most of them are mentally ill. Most of them are vets who fought for this country and then come back and they're not given the access to take care of themselves. Most of them have lived poor. Their parents have been poor. Don't know anything. Like, dude, like.
So you think everybody should be on an even playing field then? In the
I think we should
America?
all. I think
everybody be even.
I think you should
essentially socialism.
You think no. What is so social about making sure everybody has the same?
No, I'm asking you to explain what you mean.
Because
I'm giving you the open
because
form.
You're using the buzzword as socialism as like everybody should be equal. Like socialism is just one step away from communism. I'm not saying that.
I didn't say that.
But you didn't say that so you didn't say that. But the people who watch this thing, who are listening to us,
which is why I gave you the floor,
who watch Fox News, who read the Daily Caller, who read Breitbart, who go on 4chan, they hear socialism, and we get a whole spectrum of shit, right? We get a whole spectrum of shit, but we don't, and we deal with it. We deal with that word, and we think everything because that word means everything. But capitalism is just this one thing. It's just this one thing, and that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Like, if you're going to look at everything, fucking look at everything. It's everything. The thing that's killing this country, racism and hate, it's in every single thing we do, we say, we watch, we read, we ingest.
How do I combat it?
everyone gets a voice in figuring out how we fix
Right.
this shit.
Correct.
And it's gonna be ugly on all sides. But we sit together and we figure it out until we can't do that.
Not every human being is going to tackle that issue the same way.
Every human being needs to get the chance, the real chance.
Okay.
The real chance. Like
Okay.
it's not like it's that, and that's the point. And when I'm telling, like, you can't look. You think you're looking in a spectrum, brother. You are you're looking in a vacuum. It is you don't capitalism. This concept of capitalism has given you, like, we live in a quantum world. Anybody got a
Capitalism has not been that good to me.
no, capitalism is it's not. Anybody got a quarter or a penny?
But I'm happy for the people
something.
it has been good to.
Nothing.
All right.
But now, like,
Everything in this country, our systems, our way of life, is set up in this binary, like, ridiculous, like, concept. The hero either wins or loses. You're either I'm
right in the middle. And I'm good with being in the middle.
It's like everything is binary. Either if you watch Fox News, you can't watch CNN. If you watch CNN, you can't listen to Fox. Like, we are humanity. We're the spin. We're the superposition. All of us, not just one of us, not just me and you talking here. All of us. We are the superposition of what we say society should look like. And the problem is, it's not just America, because if the fucking rainforest burned down in Brazil, we're not going to be able to breathe over here. If someone gets sick over there, we're going to get sick over here. We have to deal with it as a country. And we're too busy dealing with communism or fake democracy in Russia and parts of Eastern Europe, or this country that talks about capitalism, but it's real talk. It's a wannabe theocracy. We got more in common with Saudi Arabia than we like to realize. And I think if you really think about it, if you think about the parallels between what Saudi Arabia does in society and the kingdom in Qatar. No, I shouldn't say. You're going to Abu Dhabi. Sorry.
No, man, you got the floor. You can say whatever you want.
Like, this country is a wannabe theocracy. That's what we want to be. Like, that's what part of us wants to be. We like democracy, because real talk, democracy is hard. It's fucking hard. And if we really want to be a democracy, we have to fucking fight hard for it. And it's gonna that takes both sides to listen. And we gotta get.
So you're saying your take on America is that we're more of a theocracy than a democracy?
I think we want to be a theocracy. We want to be a theocracy. Like, we're not supposed to make church and state, and I'm so sick and tired.
All right, listen, you'll never find a guy that agrees with you more than that than me.
I'm so sick of hearing Democrats and Republicans talk about, oh, God is an almighty. Shut up.
I agree.
God, like, it's not. Like,
Listen,
if God was in all of your decisions, every dollar.
100% agreement on that.
Everybody runs on that because they think that's what people want them to say.
But why do they think people want them to say that?
I don't.
Because they listen. Because they're listening.
People are still doing like they think it's like the tradition.
Because we're all
going for the Bible Belt.
We're all pretending that everybody still goes to church, or that that being gay is wrong. Do
you really truly think that most of America thinks being gay is wrong? Is that your? I
don't think that most of America thinks that gay is.
the opposite in today's day and age.
I don't think that most of America thinks that being gay is wrong. I think we're supposed to perceive that, like, if you talk to like a conservative, they believe like, oh, I think that marriage is between a man and a woman. Like,
no,
like
I would
see, but you're like, no, I think you're right. I just think the media is to perceive to us, like, if you listen to the Fox News, they want us to think, oh, the Fox News viewer thinks that marriage between a man and a woman is wrong. I don't think the Fox News viewer gives two fucks about who gets married. I really, like, if you talk to the guy in Biloxi, Mississippi, who's I don't think he cares who marries who. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's where the mainstream media, that's like, they want us to care about, like, the wrong shit. They want us to care about shit, but the way they format their shows.
Well, they want you to care about polarizing shit, so you're on one side and you're on
so
the
you
other.
can watch the advertisements about, like, all the
When's the last time you saw something on the news? Which, when I was a kid, I do remember this. they used to announce lotto winners, the lottery winner. When's the last time you actually saw them announce something positive? I can't remember the last fucking time I saw it. A fucking fireman rescuing a cat out of a tree.
If I want to,
used to be on the fucking news. When's the last time you saw anything like that?
If I want to watch anything positive, I'm going to listen to Alan Watts. I'm going to listen to Manly P. Hall. I'll listen to Terrence McKenna. My positivity is not.
I'm talking about mainstream. When's the last time you saw anything on mainstream? You don't see it anymore.
I don't watch.
You don't see it.
The only thing, this is what I do. Like how I disseminate my information. Okay, here we go, world.
Yeah.
I'll watch the mainstream. I'll watch something mainstream, both sides. So all the shows are formatted. It's ridiculous. They got their A block, their B block. They're all so the most. The thing they think is the most important, they'll show at the top of the hour. The thing they think is the least important, they'll show at the bottom of the hour. So I'll go, okay, they think this is the least important. So I'll go read about that. What does New Scientist say about this? What does Tech Radar say about this? What is and now that's how I'll, what is the Wall Street Journal saying about this? And where is that standing, like what in their list of importance? Because the mainstream media does not know what is important to the average American. And that is what the problem is between them and the internet, because the internet doesn't have to know what's important to you. You go to the internet and find out what's important to you.
I think I used to be very much of that mindset, but the internet seems to be changing. It seems to be becoming more and more censored and more and more biased to some degree.
It's not more and more censored or biased. It's you have to figure out where to get what you want.
Fair.
And I
just learned that a few episodes ago.
No, and that's what it is.
You're talking about DuckDuckGo.
I'm talking about all of it.
We had a conversation.
Not just DuckDuckGo. Like I use the VPN. Yeah. I use I don't you have to figure out where to get it, and then once you figure out once you get what you're looking for, is this what I'm like? You gotta we have to, as humans, filter information, and we're not. And think about it. How long have we had social media, the internet? How long? What would you say?
09, 07.
No, more we were using fucking AIM chat in college.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm saying
So no,
you're saying that early, 99.
So 90. All right. So we've had it for that long. We have yet to teach our kids in a structured setting how to use it.
You're right.
We are literally 20 years behind. Hey, maybe we should teach our 5-year-old how to use Instagram because they're going to be on it. And not if it's not Instagram, it's something ridiculous. My daughter's she told me something. She said some latest news. She's like, I'm like, where'd you get that from? She's like, TikTok. Yeah. My oldest, my 14-year-old. And it's like, they need to know how this works.
I would not want to be a kid in today's age. You have so much.
No, I would want to be a kid.
You would. I wouldn't.
Oh my God.
You got to be the most confused, conflicted individual there is, because there's, and I'm talking about teenagers mostly. There is so much fucking information. You're already dealing with, puberty, and you have such an influx of all this information coming in, and it's so you have to be cool, you have to dress right. I would not want to be a kid now.
You're right.
I would not want to be a kid.
But on the flip side of that, you can go on YouTube, and you can watch lectures from MIT, from Michigan, from Stanford, from Carnegie Mellon about shit that you would never our kids are going to pay $100,000 a year to go for, and that is why education is horseshit. Like, I'm not going to send my kid to fucking be a quantum physicist for $500,000.
But that's where it starts. That's where it starts at home, because how many kids are really doing that? Unless the parents
more than you. Like, our kids are doing it. Like our kids are intuitive. Our kids are more intuitive. Even not even our kids. The generation that's younger than us are more intuitive with information than we are. Yeah. And that is why you're seeing this.
Is Logan doing quantum physics on YouTube?
But it's not I'm not saying look, I'm not gonna say I'm not saying I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go figure out Schrodinger's equation anytime soon. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
the information is there.
It's
if you
there,
want to access
and I can listen to it, and I might not take all of it in. But God, look, I was a good football player, but I didn't get mean until I started kickboxing. I didn't get mean until I figured out I can do that with my elbow. I can grab somebody like that.
I gotta ask. How do you think you'd do in a street fight against Frank Yeager?
No. Real talk. We're gonna analyze that. Here's what's gonna happen.
Come on, I had to ask because I know. Listen, what do you weigh? What do you weigh?
Right now I'm like 220. Like when I playing, I was like
pretty close. I lost a lot of weight since the gyms were close, but he's a fucking midget. And he can still kick my ass.
Here's what I would imagine is gonna happen. Right. I'm gonna rush him because I know I can't wait on him.
Play it all out.
Play it all out.
Play it all
out. I'm not gonna wait on him, and I'm not gonna let him dictate. Because if he dictates it, I'm already whatever he dictates, I'm fucked. Like I'm done. Right. So I'm gonna rush him, and I'm gonna grab him.
I think you gotta take his feet out from under.
By
grabbing him.
He's too quick.
Him.
No. Because he's too quick, I'm not taking his feet out.
But you eliminate his foot action by grabbing onto him.
No, because he trains on how to fight on the ground. Okay. I can't fight on the ground. I can't do it, and I know that. So I'm gonna rush him. I'm gonna overwhelm him and keep and stay up. Because if we go to the ground, I'm definitely not gonna win. I can throw a haymaker, and hope.
Yes.
So I can throw a haymaker.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna overwhelm him. I'm gonna get into his space, and I'm gonna hope the 8 shots I take before I throw the haymaker don't don't put me under.
My plan is almost the exact same. I have about 30 seconds of gas in me, so I'm swinging to the fucking fences and hoping something lands.
I'm gonna throw a haymaker, and I'm gonna try to move. I'm gonna try to move out of I forget the guy's name. One of the best boxers I love watching is his name.
Pernell Whitaker?
No. I like him, but no. He's Russian. His name is
Lomachenko.
Yeah, Lomachenko.
Oh my God,
Lomachenko.
He is
good.
He so you
good.
Watch you can watch Floyd Mayweather, and he's so speaking he's so fast, but you can't watch his speed and see the technical aspect of what he does. You watch Lomachenko. Yep. Lomachenko.
His dad had him in ballet school.
He's only fast when he wants to be. He's only and if you and again, I'm not a boxer, but being an athlete and seeing how and doing kickboxing and knowing how you're supposed to move in that aspect and not the kickboxing and boxing are traditionally fundamentally. No, I'm not telling you shit you already know. I'm just pretend I'm talking to people who maybe don't know kickboxing, you're supposed to stand there and traditional the drums are beating and that the music is going and you're in that you're standing there, you're taking shit, your knees and legs and people kick you in the shin and people in the background are going, oh, and they're talking and you're oh, that shit hurt. So obviously stuff. So kickboxing you're going at somebody, and boxing is more I'm gonna go at you when I want to go at you, right?
Sweet science.
Yeah. And watching him put his hand on someone's head and move where and they don't know where you're at because he's that to me is I just
poetry in motion.
So basically I'm going to rush you and I'm going to try to figure out I'm gonna throw a haymaker and I'm gonna move because when I miss I'm gonna get hit 9 times. And if he tackles me, I'm just gonna start
Roger wants me to beat him up. He keeps talking.
I'm too old now. I'm too old now.
Well, yeah, some regular Joe. I'm whooping it. I'm just.
Where do you kick? You kickbox now?
No, I not because shit's closed. But I was doing it at All Star in Roselle.
Oh, yeah, with Jamal.
Yeah, I was doing it there.
Okay, yeah.
And it was kickboxing was the most humbling thing of my life. And it wasn't, and it was I knew all right, I'm gonna go in there and there's just gonna be guys that are gonna be better than me. I'm just gonna, do what I can and I would hold my own, especially against the bigger guys because they move slower and I'm in more.
But you're an athlete though.
Yeah, so I would do great. But I was one time I fought this girl. I sparred against this girl. And she was 19 years old, and her first fight was coming up, and it was this guy. The guy's name is Spider. Was my coach, and he was I want you to go against her. And I was like, no. I had at the time I had $3 at home. I'm not, because even if I hit this, even if I just, and she, I'm there's no way, but she's no, she's good, and I remember the round started and I'm going against her and she's moving and she's and it's I'm thinking kickboxing are you gonna come at me? She not once. It was never my decision. Everything that happened, it was never my decision. I was all right. She keeps moving. I'm getting tired. Halfway through. She hasn't thrown a punch yet. I'm like all right. And All right, I'm gonna just rush her. I'm gonna grab her. And I went to grab her, and she fucking teeped me right here, like just.
Oh,
and it was like, and she couldn't have weighed more. Like she might have been a 110, 115 soaking wet. But when she put her toe there, half of my soul had left with her. And it took all the air and all the enthusiasm that I had in my life about doing you ever like you get hit and you're like, I should be doing it. Like I've been hit like in football field.
I was gonna say that is so surprising because you've probably taken some huge hits.
I've taken a lot of huge hits, but there's only two that I really remember.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell the one because the other one was bullshit. The guy, it was Super Bowl. It was Bill Romanowski. He hit me, but I got him back because it was a hard hit, but it wasn't like it was a hard hit like, oh, you're gonna die. Like I was like he hit me and was talking. So I was like, oh my god, you're
dead.
You're dead.
No, oftentimes he'll say he takes harder hits in sparring practice than he does in a real fight. Was that true for practice sessions in football as well, or no?
No.
No
one wanted to hit me in practice.
Right,
Like a couple guys.
Nobody wants an injury.
There were a couple guys.
Right.
Yeah, like so. What people don't realize about the NFL is like if a guy makes more than you, he does not want to deal with you in practice. And if you're like I was a guy who like, if I had a bad practice, I could get cut.
Yeah.
So I was never gonna have a. And not saying I didn't have bad practices, but I was never gonna have a bad practice. Like I don't care who you are. Like if I have to go against you, like you're gonna die. Like it's just that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But and I'm so mad that this guy's name escapes me. But he was like everybody has like that welcome to the NFL moment.
Yeah.
This guy was a fullback and he played in Nebraska and he was drafted to Detroit and his name, oh my God, this is 2002. He's one of those fullbacks that he's like a man's man, like before like Lorenzo Neal, like Tom's right. He's like a man's fullback, right? And I knew of him, but I was a rookie. I didn't know him. And we were playing the Lions that week, and I just smirky and I just started, and I'm running down kickoff, and I'm blowing up the wedge, and I'm killing people. And I'm just like, you can't tell me anything. And my special teams coach, Rich Bisacci, is like, look, you're going against this guy this week. His name is Big Head. His name in the league is Big Head. And I watched film, but I didn't really study film. I just watched it as a rookie because you're not really. And this guy is like, he's knocking people out, like just knocking
annihilating people.
And you know, fast forward, he knocked me out. I don't remember his fucking name, but
maybe that's why you don't remember his name.
But it's probably why. But the first kickoff, he had this other fullback in the wedge next to him. This guy was like 270, this big guy, and I lined up against him, and I go down and I hit this guy, and I eviscerate this fullback. And I almost make the tackle, and I go, what the guy's name? Oh man! And the guy is like, he's like the most nondescript human being. He drove like a Sentra, like an '89 Sentra when he to football. Like he just most like just lunch pail type dude, right? Man. And I knocked this other guy out, and I'm going to him, and I'm like, I'm fucking kill you. I'm just all does not say a word to me, and I should have known from that point.
It's the silent ones.
Leave this man alone, right? So the next kickoff comes down, and we line up, and I got to break through his gap, and I'm running full speed. I'm like, I'm 265. I run like a 4.6 flat. I'm 60-yard head start. I'm moving. And he's like, anybody's dead. Like you're dead. I don't care how much you weigh. Like if you're dead. And it was like, it could just be this way because of the concussion. And so I could just be imagining like this is what it was like because I was just rocked.
Yeah.
But it was like about 20 yards away from him. Like he just started like jogging in place. And that's what it looked like to me. Or that's at least the experience that I think I had. And I'm like, oh, he's dead. He took like 3 or 4 steps towards me, and he cocked his head back, and I swear to God, he didn't run into me. He just headbutted me right here. And when my eyes opened, I was on the ground, and I thought, and the returner, and this is the crazy part about getting hit, the returner was Eddie Drummond, right? He was drafted from Penn State. It was like one of their big drafts that year. I think he runs past me. And I do like this whiff, and I'm holding myself, and I'm on the ground, right? He runs like the 8-yard line. And that's what I remember about this play, getting up and watching him run to the 8-yard line. And turning to the sideline, and Mike Allstott and Jameel Cook are laughing their ass off. Like they're at the sideline pointing at me because I knocked people out. So everybody on the sideline is looking at me like, who's he gonna blow up next? Yeah. And they're pointing and laughing at me, right? And my chin strap is off. I'm drooling, like, you know, I'm stumbling to the side. And I remember Allstott and Cook are like here, and it's smelling salts. This is in the end of my career, when I knew I had to leave, like, they didn't have smelling salts on the sideline. You couldn't have them. Oh, really? They're holding.
Oh, wow.
Here, take these. And I'm just holding them. And I'm like, I don't want to play football anymore. Like, I'm like, I don't want to play football anymore. Like, that's what I'm thinking. My God, what just happened? And my special teams coach, he's yelling at me. I don't know. I have no idea what he's saying. But I know it was like, I know something like, I fucking told you this was gonna happen. Like, what's like? So I can't. Like, it's all like, I'm like, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Charlie Brown teacher talking.
Yeah, like,
wah, 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 wah.
So like, at like 10-15 minutes goes by, I finally come like to my senses. We win. We game. We win. I have a pretty good game. At the end of the game, we shake hands. I go and I find him. What is his name? I find him, and I shake his hand, and I look at him. I go,
the hardest hit ever.
No, that's not what I am so sorry. I was like, I am so sorry that I talked to you like that. and he said to me, I got his name, but he said to me, he's like, you're young. He's like, you'll get it. Like, you'll figure it out.
That's awesome.
And it was cool as hell because it was like, yeah, and I figured it out. Like, God, I don't have to run full speed to hurt people. That's the lesson he taught me.
No matter how good you are, I think even the best, Frankie, Conor McGregor's, I think it's always good to be Ronda Rousey is a good example. It's always good to be a little humbled, right? Maybe
it's beyond humble. Like I think athletes, and I think this is on purpose. Like, we're designed this way.
Makes you realize you're just a human.
Yeah, we forget.
Right.
We're human. Right. Like I used to hang clean like 385, like just do it in reps of like 10. And you forget that regardless of that, there is somebody on this earth,
right, that's a little bit
that
better
will
than you.
knock you, just, you know. And it made me like, and that's and real, like, I didn't have that, like, that last 3 steps kind of motto. Right. That didn't come until that guy. Like, if I had never experienced that, I don't think I would have had the wherewithal to be like, if I'm hurt. I don't care. Like, this is what's in my, like, I don't care what this coach says to me. I don't care what mistake I made. Mm-hmm. When you watch it on film. Yeah. What did I feel? Like, if I didn't, cause there are guys like this, London Fletcher is a played linebacker for years. And he's a household name, but not like everybody knows him, right? I could never block this. I blocked a lot of guys. 3 times my size, stronger. I hurt a lot of London Fletcher. I don't care if I was trying to kill him, if I was just trying to get in his way. He had a way of displacing me. Like, all right, guy, I'm going to make a tackle. Just stand over here. You know, he's not a guy, like, I would hit a guy or miss a guy and talk shit, be like, yeah, bitch, like, I'm going to find you. Like, him, I'd just be like, you know, like, and I think, like, everybody's got that. And
we had Todd Frazier on here, and he talked about it, like the hardships you go through, and you know, his story was a little different, but you know, the minor leagues and how rough it was, and where you really figure out his brother played like 10 years in the minor leagues or whatever, and got picked up for like 7 days or something. It's about your want to be there. It's about your want to make that happen. And I would guess that in those moments, you gotta like pick yourself up and be like, is this what I want to do? A good example of that, Frank, is this past weekend's fights. That God, it was on the undercard. Obviously, he took the fight on like 10 days' notice. I cannot think of his name.
Oh yeah, he asked to get.
At the end of the second round, he said, "This." I heard him say to his coach, "This isn't for me. I'm done. This isn't for me." And his coach
got a lot of flack.
His coach is saying, "Got to get back in there. Come on, you got this. Come on, you got." And
his coach get a lot of flack for that too, because they're like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And he's telling you his want, but the coach, he went and did an interview. He's like, "Listen, I know my guy." He's like, "I know he's regretting that."
Right.
And it wasn't like he was getting beat up bad. He
I
was
didn't
mentally
even
broke.
Did you think he looked that bad?
I didn't
thought
see, honestly. I
he had
didn't
a
see
couple,
the fight. I didn't see the fight.
What do they call them? Inamari rolls? What is that called? The
Inamari roll?
Yeah, the Ferguson roll. I call it.
Yeah.
He had a couple of those. He was very close to tapping that guy. He had a deep, and he just gave up. He just literally gave up.
Like, I think in those moments, I don't care like what. I think every last single human being has the potential to be like a great. Like I think in those moments,
I agree with that.
Like, I don't think that guy saw his shadow self. I think I don't want to get all like Carl Jungian or whatever, but like I think like guys like you, every now and then like you can look at like your dark heart. Like, you can look at like you can stare in the face and see the thing that like the ego, the thing that you really are, right? Mm-hmm. And I think like we forget that that's there, and then we see it. And if you can't look at it, and you can't realize that thing is in you, then you can't go on. Yeah. And it changes. Like it changes with time. It's like anything. Like, but if you can't, that guy, he might regret it. But if that guy just takes a moment to like look, like what does my darkness look like?
Well, I agree with that 100%. But that is his defining moment. He literally.
It's not his defining moment.
No, that and the moments that follow.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
That moment is his defining moment, and that after that, he has to do some deep soul searching and say, "Listen, this is going to make me a better fighter, or this isn't for me." He really has to figure that out. It's
not even a fighter. It's like we all, like taking like an ayahuasca trip or like taking like it. It gives you a chance.
Which we have to do. No, you're not doing it. Wink, wink, because you're a teacher.
Every human being should see outside of themselves, mm-hmm. and they should see I'm going back to I was saying this. Like I think, like humanity lives. Excuse me. I think humanity lives on the edge of a black hole, and we can't see it.
Interesting.
There's like, let's just say like, there's 10 feet in front of us. A quantum scientist or physicist would say like it's a Planck length. There's like a Planck length of a black hole in front of us, right? And then a Planck length in like quantum physics is like the smallest measurable scale of like between like two particles. And I could be screwing that up, but I'm pretty sure like that's basically the point of it, right? Mm-hmm. We live on the edge of that, and it's not. And the black hole. To us, it's materially, it's a hole, but perceptionally, it's a mirror, right? Like we like there's a thing in front of me every day, like a darkness, and you can look at it and know what it is, and like I tell my girls are like my girls are saints, and my girls wouldn't fight, they wouldn't hit a soul, they're nothing like I am, and I'm just like. And I tell my daughter, like my oldest daughter, she had a bully like 3 years ago, and she didn't want to fight, and the bully had said something, and she got in trouble because she did something because the bully told her to do it, my oldest, whatever. And I pick her up from dance, and I'm driving home, and she told her mother so much. She told my wife like, "Don't tell Dad," because she's like, "Dad's gonna get all," Mm-hmm. And I said to her, I go, "Look, I know what happened," and she starts tearing. And I go, "Look. I don't want you to fight. Like, that's not what you want to do. And honestly, if you didn't fight, you're a better human than I am." I go, "It's not about fighting. It's about looking at it and seeing the fear and knowing that you fear this and doing something to stop the fear." Yeah. And I go, "I don't care if you don't fight. If you don't want to fight, you don't fight. But I'm going to be pissed if you don't do something." Yeah. Like, and I don't care what it takes to do something. Like that. I don't do something. If this person is instilling this fear in you,
because the go-to is often violence.
Yeah, right? Like don't fight. Like I'm not telling you sitting here like you hear it like you like.
Do you think? I'm going to ask this to Frankie too. That your advice may be slightly different because you're the father of four. Would you give your daughter different advice if she was being bullied than you would your sons?
No, I would. I would say the same thing. I tell my kids that. I say, hey, the coward and the hero feel the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
They feel the same thing.
I tell my students the same thing. Like, look, we don't, because I can't be like, tell my daughter don't fight, and then tell my students, like the boy students, no, just, you don't have to do that, but you got to do something.
Correct.
And
Change your outcome. Change
yeah, like
the outcome.
change, like yeah, basically,
The
like you.
outcome,
So,
yeah.
but so you can't like because what do kids do? Like what do humans do?
Yeah.
They don't do anything. They bottle it up,
Right.
and then it comes out in unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And really, you're trying to correct one behavior, but that behavior stems from something that should have been corrected a long time ago. And
Agreed.
that's just the nature of humanity.
Agreed.
So it's like, yo, fix it.
Yeah.
You might not like the answer, like if she hits you and she keeps hitting you, at some point you better like that.
Yeah.
Like something's got to click.
Yeah.
You're gonna take it, or you're gonna. But I was like, but your inaction is gonna lead to an action. So figure it out. And I'm not gonna tell you like I'm not gonna, you know, she kind of like, it's half my fault too. Like she had this image of me being like this football player, and like that's like, I think there's a lot of reason like I used to coach, and like a lot of reason like I got like I'm not that guy. Like I am that guy,
Yeah.
but I'm your dad. So
And you want that. You don't
Yeah,
want
like, I
your
don't-
career to be
yeah,
your legacy.
Mike,
You want your
like, I
greatest
don't-
career,
yeah.
your greatest
I don't.
legacy
I'm not
to be
defined.
your
I'm not
dad.
defined by
Yeah.
like it's
Right.
so
Same.
it's
Yeah.
like, yo, just figure. Like I'll help you figure it out. Like if we gotta like. If I gotta go to the principal, if I gotta whip his ass, you know, we'll figure it out. Like, you know, do what you think is right,
Right.
you know, or tell me because I love you and your daddy. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm interested just to ask a question that popped in my head here as you were talking. Did you watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary? And
No.
you didn't watch it?
And I tell you, I didn't watch it, which is the problem with the NFL, by and large. Aaron Hernandez was a piece of shit long before we knew who Aaron Hernandez was.
Okay.
Florida Gators knew that.
Right.
The Patriots knew that.
Right.
These people, you go to.
But you knew that because you're. I don't think I didn't certainly know it because I think there was a lot
people
of
who
in
were
the
supposed to know it knew it.
You're right.
They knew it.
But it was very eye opening
And
for
it's
me
like-
because Lou, did you know any of that shit before you watched it? I knew
And
none
it's
of
like,
it.
I
I saw a great football player. That's it.
Same.
One of the most amazing
Frankie,
people.
you knew you were privy to some of that?
No, I didn't know any.
No.
But I mean, well,
They-
after
so
seeing the
they
documentary, though, the shit happened in college, so
They
people knew
connected
already.
things that
Yo.
would have never connected to me.
Yo,
So many
he
things
was-
he was
and-
he was involved in that you would have never. I would have never have known.
No.
outside of that.
And it's an NFL thing. Like, if you're a piece of shit, you shouldn't be in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's just.
You don't think that in everything. My job, but
It's in everything.
You don't think there's a piece
It's
of
in
shit
every-
in everything?
I
No?
think there's a piece of
there
shit in
is,
everything,
yeah.
but what are you trying to like? What are you striving for? Because you're allowing, like, what you're telling by letting Aaron Hernandez take the character arc that he did, right? What you're telling the kid,
But it's
then what you're telling the
interesting
next.
You said character arc.
was what it was. It was a
But
character
I
arc.
said
It's
that
a
earlier, and
fucking
you.
tragedy.
I said that earlier, and you ripped me. See, there's a
Wait,
guy.
wait.
When I said you don't think life choices and character merit plays into outcome, there's a guy where that guy should be a homeless guy on the street because of his.
No,
character
he
choices.
should be in jail because of everything that he
Okay,
did.
all right,
Like
be-
that's
better
like,
put, in
so,
jail.
So
Okay.
he shouldn't like he
I
should
was trying
be.
to connect it with the conversation
He
we had
should
before.
he should be
yeah.
in jail. He
Yeah.
should, or he at the least he shouldn't be playing in the NFL.
Correct.
Like he shouldn't. Like
Right.
what I'm saying is, the NFL because of its system allowed that story to play out the way it did.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit.
Because
Bullshit.
they were just worrying about winning football games.
Yes, and he could win a football game, right? Like so. What are you telling the next Aaron Hernandez?
Now I'm curious. I have to ask. You definitely you seem to know everything about it. You learned that insider scoop because you didn't watch the documentary. You said
No, you watch somebody like all right, but here, when you watch a football game, you hear the announcer, you see the graphics,
Yeah.
you line up like the way you study a fighter. There's no sound. You're just watching the video. You're watching how he steps, how he moves. You're watching when someone says something out loud, you know what they say because you know in the context of where they're saying it in a situation that you can watch him. You can watch an interview with him. You can watch him on the field and you can be like a football player be like, "Oh, guy's a piece of shit." Like you could you can see it.
Yeah.
So to hear that he had problems at Florida Gators. I know a shitload of people at Florida. Like, I play with a guy, and I'm not going to say his name, but I play with a guy, and one of the most amazing, genuine human beings funny story about this guy. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna try not to. We had a locker next to each other at this team, and there was this smell, this awful, ungodly smell, every day that we were in this locker room. And the end of the year comes, we lose the last game of the season, and we're cleaning our lockers, and this guy pulls out these 2 pairs of socks, right? And they don't fucking move. Like it's like if he just let them go, like it was just hung in midair, right? And I'm looking at his socks and I'm like, yo, is that what that is? I was like, what is that? He was like, oh man, this is my lucky socks. I was like, we're fucking 6 and 9.
Yeah.
like, but he was like, but that was like his thing. Like, these are my.
Yeah.
He was a Gator, and he was telling me, like, he was like, oh man, he was telling me stories. I'm like, yo, I went to Rutgers. Like, why aren't you guys like in the penitentiary? Like, shouldn't some of you guys be on death row? And he was like, yeah. like just so, like hearing
where he came from wasn't surprising.
No, and it's just like you hear a story like he grew up in like the game, like and then he was dealing with like well, listen, I didn't watch the story, so I don't want to. But if he was dealing with his sexuality, like that's a whole nother like like he needed help.
Yeah,
and the NFL wasn't it. The money he got wasn't it. Like it just and the NFL has they do that like way too much.
One of the things I found most interesting about that Aaron Hernandez, and if you didn't watch it, I don't think you know, maybe you do, but there was a psychological evaluation that he went under to get in, and he scored like horrible on this thing, like
the
horrible.
Wonderlink.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Everybody. So the Wonderlink test, they say it's an intelligence test, and it's not. So insider, like, or someone will say, yes, it's for intelligence. I'm telling you, it's not for intelligence. It's to see if you can follow directions. That's all it is. Can you follow directions? If you don't like the direction you're given, how are you going to feel about it? That's all it is.
It would substantiate the argument that there were warning signs there before anybody knew of any crimes he committed.
If you score low, if you score low in the Wonderlink test, what it means
it wasn't just IQ. It was a number of things. I forget the other. Lou, do you remember the other thing?
It's a Wonderlink. Maybe the teams had their own personal versions of it, but the national one is a Wonderlink. That's what it's called. Right. Basically, all it means is can you follow directions? Can you do it? And are you going to get pissed off when someone says you did it wrong?
Right.
So if you score low, what it means is if I tell you to tie your shoes, are you going to take the shoelace off with it and choke me with it? Yeah. So the answer is yes. That's what he's going to do.
Right.
But if he can, score 4 touchdowns a game, then we're
they're
good.
very forgiving for talent, basically.
Well, they're less forgiving now.
Yeah.
But the NFL it's totally different. This NFL is not about talent; it's about athleticism, and that's good because in a lot of ways that's. I was on a podcast with someone over the weekend.
Never be as good as us.
No, not even close. They were talking about like I asked the guy about like how he felt about the new NFL because it's not
that. Yeah, dude couldn't hit you like that now.
And no, I couldn't. I couldn't have played because it is so fast. And the people who were linebackers in my NFL, they're defensive ends, and the safeties are linebackers, and it's like, it's speed, but there's no nuance, there's no like thinking, and it's like it's become safer in a lot of ways, but it's also become and that's good. And what's also weird is that like I think the average person can watch it and really know what's going on.
It's funny you speak of that because safer. They sort of did the spin. Correct me if I'm wrong, Frankie. You watched the documentary as well. Sort of spun it as what is the traumatic brain injury?
CTE.
CTE. That maybe CTE could have played into some of Aaron.
Oh, he said when they did the CT test, he had one of the.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
But dude,
he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you like
before
like,
CTE,
and that's the thing. Like CTE is like it's a real thing, and guys go through it. But if you can put CT in a vacuum, and you can try to let go of like all the other mitigating circumstances, and that's the thing. Like, it's hard. Like, look, I'm gonna tell you, like, I haven't reached the heights that you have, right? It's hard letting shit go. And I know you feel it. Like that shit is hard. And it's not something like.
Now wait, speak on what you mean.
And I'm not telling you. I'm not saying to stop. Like, I'm saying, but like
letting go of his
stopping.
career.
Yeah,
it's because like you're basically. Here's the best way I can put it. Really knowing it's time to stop it's an ego death. That's what it is.
And that's your edge.
And that's like, you know,
win. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a fucking and it's like there ain't nobody on the planet that can tell you when to stop.
No, you're right.
But when you tell you when to stop, if you don't listen to it the first time,
you're in trouble.
The third time you listen to it,
here's my take on it. Frankie's take is, and he's in the driver's seat, is that when he starts losing the guys that he shouldn't be losing to, that's when it's time to hang it up.
How does he?
Right.
That's
right.
And you
I have three
My
checks.
take-
I have three
my
checks. As long as my body's able to do what it can, as long as I'm having fun, I enjoy it.
Okay.
And as long as I compete with guys I think I should be able to compete with.
My take on it, as
That's
not
my
a
take.
fighter and not a guy that does any of this, as a friend and a super fan of him, and a guy that's watched some of his other heroes in that sport, is I don't ever want him to hurt his legacy. You know what I mean? I think guys like BJ Penn have done that.
I don't believe in it. I don't believe
and
in
that's,
it.
And that's the thing. Like
What do you
that's,
mean you don't
but
believe
that's
in hurting your legacy?
No,
Yeah,
but that's
I don't.
You don't think it can happen?
No, I don't think it matters. I think it's
it
all
doesn't matter
bullshit.
because that's a
It's
part
all
of
facade.
See,
Really?
that's a part of the darkness. It's when he goes to when he's in there, like when he's fighting, like what's in your heart?
Yeah, yeah.
If my heart ain't in it, like that's if
So
I
you
can't face my
you
darkness.
think that Tito and Chuck Liddell fight should have happened then, based on your theory? I don't.
No, I think no. Like Tito fights. He's still like in it. He's still training. He goes to
Right,
win.
but that
Chuck,
fight-
that was a money grab, bro. That was a money grab.
It's
Right, but nobody was better than Chuck in the day.
Yeah, but not now.
Okay, that's my
But
point.
he retired. He
That's my
retired
point.
for a year.
Yeah, but everybody does
for
that.
years.
Everybody does that. So
yeah.
did BJ Penn, and you beat him again.
No, he never retired.
Well, not when you beat him, I guess, but he has retired. I've watched him retired after the Diaz fight.
Nah,
retired.
yeah, but he didn't. He came right back.
That ego death is.
I agree, and I'm not suggesting for a moment that he retired.
Biblical,
but
and when you have it, when you have your ego death, you won't be playing. Like you won't be fighting.
Yeah.
And when you have it, like it's
Dana says it too. That R word pops in your head, you better fucking retire.
it's not.
it just happened to a kid.
Fuck. No, it's not. It's not the R word because again, it's not something. When I say ego death, it is not something I can put in words. When I knew, it's like a biblical crying, like fuck. It's like a what am I going to do
Next, yeah.
now?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't. If that's not the question, not if I'm gonna retire. Then fuck, knock somebody the fuck like. I'm such an elementary teacher. Knock somebody out, like hurt someone, like that. Yeah, there ain't a soul on the planet.
Do you think you have to be programmed beyond? Are there guys that strictly are just so focused on this is a paycheck, I need to provide for my family? Do you think you have to have a passion more than that to be in that sport?
To be an elite,
I would think you
do.
do. I would think you do.
To be a professional,
To be an elite, to be an elite guy, listen, I got into this sport.
I've heard guys
I
say
was making
before.
no money.
Right,
I fought
right.
because I wanted to fight.
Right, but I've heard guys. I think George Masvidal, maybe one that says, "Look, I just do this because, I need to provide for my family." Maybe I'm misquoting, I'm sure, but there has been guys that do that. I find it hard
I'm
to
sure
believe
there are guys
that
that have that ability, definitely. But,
Find it hard to believe that you could be in the pedigree of that sport.
I just think to
It's gotta be
me,
a passion.
fighting. Well, when I fight, you see, I fight with my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I can't fight with my heart,
Right.
and no money matters.
I agree.
You
I
know?
agree. Yeah.
it's hard.
Everybody's different, but I think I would be programmed like that if I was a fighter. It would have to be more than money.
I can't imagine. Like I can't because I've sparred, but I can imagine it. But I can't imagine like being out there and I've been in the fights but to be out I've been in sporadic
Right. Outside.
What'd you say?
in the
Yeah.
walk.
But to have to watch someone and then train and then watch how they move and hit them and Nah, dude. Like there ain't
I
nobody.
would
on the
think
planet
that
telling me
in a
when to
fight,
stop.
which we're all as men, we're sort of predispositioned or programmed to have that in us, right? We're sort of in many ways, but I would think that there would be no higher high than winning, especially fighting like a top ranked guy. And there's got to be no more depleted feeling than losing. I would think.
For sure, man. It's because it's about, like I said, when you put your all into
Right.
it. And I never went into any fight where I didn't think I was gonna win.
Right.
I always think I'm gonna win.
Well, that's why
So
you should still be
that just-
fighting.
That hurt. It hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like if someone was like, "Hey, put some pads on. We're on the goal line. It's 4th and 1. Go ISO blocking somebody." Like I could do it.
Yeah.
But like I don't want to. Like
I'm just
an
old man. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go to my
I
9
like
to
drinking
5 job
wine,
tomorrow.
playing Fallout.
There
Playing,
you
I'm like hanging out watching cartoons with the girls. Like I'm good. Dude, like you're fucking old.
Now,
You're
I-
still fighting. Like,
I still got that. I still got that.
I love. Like, I
I
can't.
say this.
Darian,
I,
how do you transition from NFL to teaching? How did that happen? You're clearly an intellectual. No, I'm not saying
No, like because I like.
kissing your ass. But what grade? Do you
I teach elementary. I
Okay.
teach kids. Like
Okay.
no, like I. You know what it was? It's like when I teach now, it's in a Montessori school. It's very like open, and I teach gym and technology, and I don't like with Montessori schools. You kind of they're not traditional public schools, and it's just a different mindset. It's more children driven. Like it's more like. No, I want to say that public schools aren't children driven, but it's more like every kid individually. Like you have to know every kid individually, and you get to you really get to see what makes them tick and make them work. So
you're in small numbers.
Yeah. Like so in a phys ed standpoint, like all my kids, they know like they might not be able to like catch a ball, but if you ask them like what does adversity mean, they'll tell you flat. Like what in technology, like the things we talked about. I get to practice those things. Like my kids, before they'll learn how to use Google Drive, they'll learn like, well, how do I get information? Like, what is information? How do I get it? What's good or what's bad? Like they'll know like, okay, I can't like, whatever decision they make, it'll be from like applying these methods to get the sources that I need. So I get to like, and I get to talk to them, not just teach them how to like use different applications or about like different technologies, but it's just to like, hey, I basically my whole thing to them is like, technology is still human. Yeah. And I think that if you and not saying that public schools don't do this, but I think it's harder to do that in a setting where you're meeting like district standards and like state mandates and like a kid, because you get kids, all of us, you get kids that, I've had kids that their parents have never let them like have an iPad, and then I have kids who like do like stuff, and I'm like, yo, you can't do that in school. Like, don't like I love that you can, I love that you can pull up the the HTML and like the JavaScript for this website. Don't like do that in school. Yeah. Like just don't, or stay off this site. Like, well, why can't I just,
Was it Bill Gates, right? He cracked the school infrastructure and changed his grades and stuff.
Did he really?
I think so. Yeah.
Like I like, and here's the crazy part, and it's not just, private school kids. Like, and the thing that makes like the things that make me realize that like we're teaching our kids fundamentally wrong now is that my children, these younger kids, you might even see some of your kids do it. You ever watch your kids watch a video and fast forward?
No.
Mm-mm.
Ask your kids if they watch it sped up, and then say like, show me. And when they show you, like they're watching like a tutorial on how to do something. It could be the silliest dumb, like it could be the dumb thing, but they're watching it like sped up, and you're like, "What are you, a robot?" Like my kid, like they watch stuff. Like there's a function on YouTube where you can speed it up like 3 times faster,
Wow.
and they watch it like, and they go, "Oh yeah, I get it. I'm watching it." I'm like, "Do you?" Because I don't know what's happening. Like, and that is why.
Is that just a younger brain being able to function?
It's not just a younger brain being able to function. It's us. So what are we? Gen Xers? Is that what we?
I think so. Yeah.
So
well,
I'm a baby boomer.
okay.
Fucking dickhead.
The late baby boomers and Gen Xers are the linchpin to what's happening in this country, right? And we are failing the younger generation because they are more intuitive with the technology than we are.
Yeah.
And we are intuitive with it because we grew up with our teenage years with it, right? So we didn't like grow up with it in our hands.
Yeah.
So we are failing them because if they can watch something 3 times faster than we can and get it, then we can.
I'm going to pay attention to that because I never noticed that, but I'm going to pay attention now.
It's free. Like I watch them do it. Like I'll be going over something in class and I'll have it on the screen and I'll be showing it, and I'll go, if you need any more information, you can watch this, and they'll go on it and they'll start, and I'll be talking, and while I'm talking about what's going on, they'll watch it sped up.
Wow.
And I had to stop them, and I stopped them and was like, yo. I was like,
they retain that information.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, I get it. I was like, because I don't want to listen to me. You're talking to me. I get it, but can you just wait until I'm done? Yeah. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Maybe that's your calling in life, you know.
Yeah. This whiskey, I gotta potty. This whiskey's like.
I think listen. What time is it? I think
some hours.
Yeah.
Oh shit! It's 11:30.
That was awesome. That was a great podcast, man.
Listen.
Interview.
Anytime. Look, thank the guys.
Where can people follow you and check you out?
I say it all the time. Information is knowledge. Information is power. I've learned a lot. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely.
I'd
love to do this again because you got some.
No, listen. Anytime like
the way your brain works, I like it.
When does your show air? Worst Cooks in America.
It's Worst Cooks in America. It's on
the Food Network.
On the Food Network. It's 9 p.m. on Sundays.
It's on already.
It's on. The first episode was like last week.
Oh, right on.
Don't worry about it. It was a dumpster fire.
And
Darian Barnes _ on Instagram and Logic_abstract on Twitter, and I don't know. Yeah, hit me up. Like, I honestly, if you hit me up, like if you just randomly hit me up, don't send me anything crazy. Like I want something. I want you to send me something I can learn from, and like I just want to learn. Like I wanted someone to be like, hey, listen to your podcast. I think you're a piece of shit. I think you're dumb. No. But if you think that, be like, I got this site, and this site to dispute everything you're saying, and I will go and look at it, and then I will send you other sites probably, and we can have it back. Like let's just
dialogue.
Have the dialogue, but
don't be spitting,
yelling, screaming.
Yeah,
not hearing other people out gets people nowhere, and that's honestly, Frankie and I believe I speak for you. We had a long talk about it.
Sure.
We'd sit down here and do this free till the day we die because it is so intriguing. I've learned so much.
I'm learning.
I've learned so much.
It's we have to listen to each other.
Yeah.
And like I know that like half the shit I said here was like silly, right? Like it's just
I wouldn't call it silly.
But like the point, like we have to listen to each other. We have to try to find. And not to sound preachy, because it's not just like we're all preachy, but it's like we are at a time now, like we don't know what's coming. Right. We don't know what school looks like next year.
Right.
We don't know what our sports look like. Right. We don't know shit. And we're letting people that we all don't agree with on either side, like, dictate what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And we can't, like, it shouldn't be up to them. It should be up to us.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's the point.
Agreed.
Science, technology, politics, culture, everything, all of it. It's got to be up to us. Now, your religion, no, because that's more personal and it's secular, and I understand that. But like, our society's got to be up to us.
A lot of work.
It's got to,
and I believe that starts with communication.
Absolutely.
And it has to be good discourse.
Yeah.
It can't be screaming and yelling at each other.
Not at all.
So,
well, we had the first one in the books tonight, so
yeah,
that
man.
was good.
Yes.
Yeah. Darian, thanks for coming down, man.
Thank you, guys.
Man.
Appreciate it
so
man.
much, man. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
It was an honor. It was an honor.
Trip of the trip. Oh.
We out. That was a good one, man.
Great,
you're welcome on that couch anytime.
Anytime, man.
I feel like that's gonna be a good one. People are gonna tune in.
That, honestly,
you speak your mind well.